Championship trophy ang Lakaseng Pinas, Onyx Philippines! In their first foray as a team, these young stallions are already living the dream. They charge onto the World Championship stage as their region's champion, and now...
I mean, I think any little bit of nervousness that comes with playing esports internationally at this level, that might be there, but I think they're going to be ready. I think the moment that first blood comes in from either team and the crowd gets roaring, both
guys are rooting for both teams. I don't care if you're for Onyx. I don't care if you're for TLID. I just want to hear you roar. Oceana Arena, make some noise! This is the Malaysian hospitality. We care about good games. And all I care about, Weezy, is for this team to showcase the best of the best.
talk about setting the bar in the Oxyot Arena, full circle where it started, the band, the new logo, the Stallions going up against the Super Family. What more could you ask for?
The Minions got me going. No, breakdance and Minions, that's the first time I've ever seen
The
that.
fires? Those fires? The fires? And then you said, what if we had fireworks inside? They gave you fireworks inside.
Folks, 10 minutes in, we're about to jump into the draft. So we don't have much time to talk about this. So right now, Leo, I want to ask you, what do you think are the strengths for Fnatic Onyx Philippines coming into this matchup?
Fnatic Onyx Philippines are a team that have perfected their meta. I spent a good amount of time with them the night before we played our first games here in Axiata, and they believe that M6, the story of M6, is the meta, yes, evolving every day, and each team bringing their own flavor to that meta game. If you're able to find out your sweet spot where you flourish and where you can win toe-to-toe against your opponents in that space, you win. And that's the secret behind Fnatic Onyx. Flawless run here in M6.
You know what? That's an interesting take. I want to hear about TLID, but before that, we got to look at both teams. We got to see their journey all throughout M6 till now. They make it to the grand finals. So let's see the journey of TLID and FNOP.
Before they ultimately end the game, Aaron Shiki will fall. FNOP have wiped Team Liquid ID out. The Thunder Gods ascend. A peak they lack.
The Indonesian rookies find themselves against an unstoppable opponent. They charge through the Swiss stage to the knockouts, proving their strength.
Aaron Shiki.
They've taken down dragons. They've taken down giants. Now they are one rematch away from bringing the M series back to Indonesia. But standing in their way for the third time is the Super Family, running hot off a smooth run in M6. They dominated through the Swiss stage with a 3-0 streak, and they remain undefeated even through the knockout stage. They are on a mission to carry on the strength of the Philippines as their last representatives. It is a revenge match of the Cavalry against the Sonics. Do the rookies have what it takes to finally defeat the unstoppable? Or will Fnatic Onyx PH live up to their name as the Super Family that became a super team?
Sa mga doubters ko dyan, pagpatuloy nyo lang yan. Mag-doubt lang kayo sa akin. Isa kayo sa ginagawa kong inspirasyon para mas lumakas. 3 taon na ako nandito sa MPL. Ang dami ko na rin paghihirap na naranasan. Kaya nandito ako ngayon sa M6 para maging isang greater than ever. Walaupun gue di sini masih rookie dan gue tahu gue banyak yang harus dipelajari, tapi gue akan janji gue akan menjadi greater than ever.
Only one can be greater than ever. The grand final stage is set, and this is going to be a revenge match for TLID. Before we jump even further, Drex, we heard from Leo the strength of Fnatic Onyx Philippines, the strength of the super family. Now I gotta have your take. What is the strength of TLID?
TLID has something that I like to call the steady charge, man. You know, they have their moments where they're too aggressive sometimes. They have their moments where they're not aggressive enough. But right now, TLID, when they don't go too far out of their range, when they're able to just draft normally and wait for that mess up by Onyx Philippines where they pull out the EXP Yuzong, where they pull out something a little extraordinary, that's when the steady charge of TLID can take that game. They just need to keep it clean, don't get too crazy, don't try to invade in the first 2 minutes, and that's how they'll win games here.
And now the final hurdle to victory. This one's coming from Kelra in the goal lane for Fnatic Onyx. He says
Our mindset heading into the grand finals is to stay focused and strengthen our mental fortitude. We're reminding ourselves that winning will not only bring us the championship, but also the monetary rewards we've been dreaming of. Ultimately, it all comes down to working together as a team to achieve the victory we're aiming for in the grand finals.
You know what? The prize, the cash money. Now that's huge. This is a $1 million tournament. And now we're looking into the storylines as well. The revenge match here. So far, TLID, they have not been able to take down Fnatic Onyx Philippines. And with that, looking at paper, Fnatic Onyx does look like the favorites. Leo, you've seen TLID grow throughout this M6. Do you feel like it's enough to actually bring a challenge against Fnatic Onyx Philippines?
Truth be told, it's very impressive how Fnatic Onyx Philippines is having a smooth run. Even more impressive is how Team Liquid ID are flowing with the meta that's been growing every single day. One of their main strengths is their adaptability. The fact that yesterday they swept Selangor Red Giants, that's impressive. More than impressive, it was shocking. The whole Axiata Arena went silent. But I'll tell you now, if you bring that level of growth against a super family, I'm still a little iffy. I think the third time might not be the charm here.
Here's the thing, Leo. While we're still on us, I want to keep on you because I want to hear the story. In that video we heard, Kelra said, I'm in the MPL for 3 years. I've been through hardships, going up against rookies that they just started. You've been in MPL for the longest times. What has Kelra faced so far?
I've seen this young man in his debut season. He went into the grand finals, almost took down the eventual champions in Blacklist International. He's moved teams. This young man has flown here to Malaysia 2 years ago, this close to actually becoming a two-time MSC champion. He has started his own family. Now part of the super family, he is at the cusp of being an MPL champion MVP, an MSC champion MVP, and after this, if they win, he could become an M Series MVP.
And now we're looking at M, trying to hear from Ben Thinks. Ben Thinks, is there any message to King Kong? And he said, all I can say to King Kong is, finally, you found the perfect team that can handle your intensity. You're also one of the most intelligent players who almost always knows the opponent's next move. Good luck in your match. Sigma King.
Sigma King Kong. I mean, this guy feels like a prodigy right now. He has definitely just taken us all by storm. I feel like just last year was all Carl Teasy, Kyle Teasy, Kyrie, but right now King Kong is the name on everybody's lips. This guy is a monster.
King Cyril Perez is not the next Kyrie, not even the next Kyle, not even the next Carl. He is King Kong.
I'm with you on that one. For you guys at home, you guys can scan the QR code to grab your goodies. Now, listening to our analyst here, Weezy, I gotta ask you, what is your what is your stance on this matchup? Do you feel like it will go all the way? Do you feel like there's a big chance they could go 4-0? And if so, who's the favorites for this one?
Well, I think for the favorites, it's no secret, and we've already seen it from the wild cards or to the Swiss stage and then to the knockout phase, right? They fought twice, and it was the same recipe. Fnatic Onic able to take down TLID. So I'd say favorites definitely going to go to their side of the court, but we've seen the rise of TLID yesterday. We've seen their performance, and they're starting to scale, right? They have to stay alive, especially with the backlines. You have the Ghost of Jakarta, and also you have the Untouchable as well. Both of their backliners able to keep themselves alive through the engagements. We know Fnatic Onic is aggressive, right? They like to take the fight early. They just have to be able to sustain themselves. If they can do that and fight their way through the early game, then I think we can go all the way.
And now we're looking at a player head-to-head here, the Sigma Junglers, because I believe both are that. King Kong going up against Favian. So far, you know the impressive thing here, Leo?
Yeah.
King Kong played less games than Favian, and yet he has more stats.
Exactly. The Sigma Junglers, the Usurper and the Beast. Obviously, King Kong has better numbers. Favian was evolved. Junglers have actually taken a backseat. It's actually all about the gold laner. So the fact that they're staying on point this way means they're still at the forefront, pushing their teams forward.
Okay, what about you, Trax? What do you feel?
I mean, and I love that you said that right now junglers are taking a backseat, but when you look at these two junglers, they're ones that have not taken a backseat. These are two junglers, Fabian as well, who will completely take control of a game. It is not just in the hands of the gold laners anymore when we're looking at these two teams. Depending on how King Kong and Fabian perform is going to determine a lot of how these games go.
Right now, Weezy, I gotta ask you, because people will say TLID coming in here with a bit of a handicap because they played yesterday. So Fnatic Onic Philippines have seen what they have shown. And before I even continue the question, Axiata Arena, we're jumping into the first drafting phase of the grand finals of M6. And then the question I present to you, Easy, do you feel like TLID has shown too much? Do you feel like they've shown the side that they shouldn't have shown against Fnatic Onic Philippines?
I don't think so. I believe the meta, even though it's been adapting, there's a lot of things that both teams, the rules that they have to follow, right? I mean, we see that Joy sneak up in there. We know how effective it can be. I think it's going to definitely be a battle of who can win in the draft. Who can find the backline pickups, who can get the Hilda, who can find the heroes that create that separation. But I don't feel like they've shown too much. I feel like we're still going to see similar picks today. It's just going to really boil down to who has the better micro engagement.
You know, we're looking at these bans now, and already we see a little bit of change in what we usually see. The Alpha ban from Fnatic Onic Philippines, and it's been a pick that they're one of the few teams to really actually rely on that Alpha still. They'll use it against the Suyo, they'll use it against other junglers, and King Kong is so comfortable on it, but seeing them ban this out, and then in response, the Joy ban, the last two powerhouses on the field right now are the Suyo or the Fred at this point. Still Hayabusa, but plenty of options here.
It looks like the Super Family setting up for a Jushin or a Cho. Strong mid, strong rotations.
I gotta say, a lot is open here because we're looking at the bans here. FNOF, they're batting a lot, but they're leaving a lot open. I'm talking about Bruno. I'm talking about the Granger. Dude, there's so much, but I gotta feel like this is good for TLID, because no matter what, they'll get two.
I feel like the Suyo's more prio right now than the Bruno Granger. I think it's a good upfront pick. We've seen the Granger at least with the ability to counter the Bruno. We've seen the Bruno win out in late games, so just lots of options.
Yep, if you get Suyo here, you complicate what Fabian is able to play the jungle, and you're bound to get either the Bruno or the Granger. So that's a good trade.
Yeah, so now, TLID, they don't have to pick up their jungler just yet. But really the question is, what's on the table? I'm looking at the Hayabusa as the hot pick since yesterday because the Alpha and the Joy, even the Fanny, they're out.
I'm almost in a boat where maybe you don't rush marksman. Since Granger and Bruno are both open, maybe you go for the Cho here. Maybe you go for something else around the map here.
Maybe you go Bruno Cho. I'd still want to give a marksman to the untouchable one.
Yeah, I mean, Bruno, the thing is I just worry. Because if you pick the Bruno, does the Granger immediately come out and outpoke you for early game?
Or maybe you go for the solution. We get that Cho, but we also get the Granger. The solution to the problem first. It will counter a bunch.
Yeah, I think he will. I think he'll pick up the Bruno here. I mean, it is going to be going up with the Granger. We've seen how effective the Granger can be as well against it. Now, you have this Cho, right? You just took away that versatility from FNOT when it comes to the Brusco the Bruiser, right? He likes to kind of rush in with that, get the setups, and that is a good start to finding a way to the backlines.
Okay, right now looking at Fnatic on the Philippines, they pick up the Bruno, and now they pick up that Lu Yi, Leo. These are the first 3 picks for Fnatic on the Philippines. Do you feel like they got a good start here?
I think the Monster Mage is very happy, and if Super Prince is happy, the Super Family is happy. Just with these 3, you have your core set up. You can also just now think of a front line. And look, another core for TLID. You were looking for the Hayabusa.
I was looking for the Hayabusa because, come on, what else is there?
It's been one of the few answers to the Suyo, essentially. If you don't have the Joy, Hayabusa is your next best thing.
Yeah, and with the Hayabusa, right, it's easily able to get to the Lu Yi, the hero that likes to stay from afar but lacks the mobility.
Gentlemen, they need to choke out the frontliners now. Get rid of Tigreal, get rid of the Hylos, get rid of the Katot.
Okay, now, here's the thing. I'm actually looking at CLID here. They have the Granger. The Granger is good going up against the Lu Yi because you can actually open up the map. But I'm a little bit worried here about Ezekiel, the Ghost of Jakarta, because looking at that, so you're looking at how King Kong plays, I feel like a lot of aggression is going to mid. How will he answer that?
Well, I think they go for maybe some long distance here, right? We've seen Aaron Shiki pick up the Poke Granger. Maybe they lock in something insane like the Navaria, something long range, something like the Xavier we saw very early on. I don't know if that's how you want to start off in game 1, but maybe it's exactly how you start off
Something
in game 1.
a little closer to the chest, like a Farsa.
Farsa
has been getting good results.
Traxxas on to something here, folks. Novaria gets banned out. So again, like, we know these teams. It's been 24 days that M6 has been going through. We know that Onyx will attack that mid. Because if you look at their 2 bans already for Ezekiel, they're really challenging the Ghost of Jakarta. What else do you got?
Yeah, the mid lane Maestros trying to get some finesse. With the Lu Yi, it's a lot of mobility from the side of FNOT. I do agree with the Farza pickup. I think it could be wise, especially with the wings by wings for some mobility on your side. We also got to take a look at FNOT, right, for the XP and the roam position. There goes the glue, so maybe the Hylos, maybe the Katot sneaks up in here. We know it's a great way to create some chaos and be able to get to the back line, and there goes the Hylos.
Does Fnatic Onyx pick up a specialty for Kirk? Do they get the Edith, or do they deny away the Gatot?
Or what about
That's a lot of jumps. Or the Khalid for Brusco? That's a lot of mobility between the divergence and the sandwalks.
Let me just say, if we do have a Khalid roam here, if I'm TLID, I'm not feeling good.
I'm not feeling good at picking Farza anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of like a preemptive strike if you pick up the Khalid here. It's a preemptive. You're not going to pick a stable mage. It better be one that can move around. So they take in Edith. Still one more pick. Roam or EXP still, essentially. Most likely this is the Kirk special, though.
I know Kirk, man.
I like the Khalid here. Not gonna lie. Something aggressive going up against the Cho as well. They're taking the time here. It looks like they pick up the Gata Kacha instead. Jumping to the back lines. They have multiple angles. Divergent here, but then suddenly Avatar of the Guardian coming from somewhere else. Multiple angles by Fnatic on the Philippines here.
And now it comes down to what Yehezkiel plays. Yehezkiel, Wiseman, what you got? It's got to be something range, right? You don't want to dive in.
But the Gato Kacha is there as well. Even if you pick up a Farsa, you're going to get caught.
I don't think you go for anything like the Valentini. You're just so close. It is tough. No matter what, you're in a tough spot. So maybe it's a what are you comfortable with pick here. Maybe it's a what are you okay with here.
I mean, it could even be the Aurora, right? I mean, you have a lot of frontline heroes. You can get the crowd control effect in your aspect, especially when you have a Cho and you have the Hylos. They're good at diving, but that overall group setup potential might not be there.
Need a stopper? Oh, he's played this once.
Yes.
And it comes out. He's technically both in your face and away. The Lilia.
Lilia, the last pick. But let me tell you, folks, in a best of 7, if you want to take risk, if you want to take chances, it's definitely for game number 1. Thank you very much to the panel. Oxiana Arena, get ready because we're jumping to game number 1.
We start
started with 16 and now we're down to 2, and third time is the charm here. The third time these two teams, these two champions from their respective regions will meet up to find out who will be the world champion here. What is up, guys? I'm Naisu, joined on the desk with Gideon Q and Mirko. Gentlemen, how are we feeling about the first draft?
I'm feeling like the first draft is interesting. Punish your front lines, be able to diversify, go into the back lines as well. Cool places to attack each comp.
Hey man, they're gonna go in for the dive. They want to play their game, both of them, right? FNOP want to go aggressive, TLID want to go aggressive. It's a brawl.
It's going to be a brawl out here again, a best of 7, and we're starting it up with game number 1. Axiata Arena is ready for this bout, and both these teams have fought through the gauntlet to lead up to this. Already in the mid lane, a lot of early action expected with what we've seen so far. Super Prince pretty low here, but we got to talk about the fact that the meta has really set in, especially throughout the knockouts and where we've landed now. But this Lilia pick from Yehezkiel, mind you, one of the players that brings out the most unique heroes to the game here. And how does this work out?
Yeah, they brought up the Xavier. We were expecting something like that too. Oh, Witty with the flicker out. But yeah, this pick isn't really something we see too much of from Yehezkiel in MP Indonesia Season 14. Though, however, when his name was still Sin, we saw a lot of Yehezkiel Lilia.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the few picks that can apply a lot of pressure to your opponents, right? As long as you are hitting those stacks and making sure that you are continuously keeping them in place, you're basically a zoning mage, right? And let's not forget that, at least with Lo Yi, yes, the yin-yang reaction is great, but it also has the conditions of making sure you have an enchanted talisman, for an example. And you can even see, right, from the emblems itself, he wants to live in these fights to continuously throw them out.
Oh, flicker out from Yehezkiel. Shadow Kill, not ready just yet. There you go. King Kong gonna be very low. Shadow Kill not able to transfer over to King Kong. Both teams surviving, no casualties as of the first minute.
Well, good thing though, you know, Yehezkiel doesn't go down, had to burn the flicker, so that is going to be down. Also the revitalize from Brusco. But both teams still obviously looking for that potential first blood, really on this side of the map here.
Okay, it's Kurt. We're just gonna walk up. Aran doing the same thing. Both of the tanks here, frontliners. It just seems like, you know, it's kind of a similar game that Brusco wants to play compared to Aran. It's all about screening, waiting, and I would say distracting the back line.
I mean, as long as the back line is confused with where they need to go, Team Liquid ID, we know for a fact they kind of want to go straight forward at their opponents, but only on the right conditions. And hopefully, it's based on where Super Preference is going to be showing himself.
And that's a part of this. Again, at level 4 for Witty, not available just yet. So not going to be able to go and go for that pick-off potential. Same thing on the other side, you know, it's Fnatic Onyx PH that wants to take their time as they approach the first objective. Don't want to overextend. Brusco has been fantastic throughout the tournament, making plays himself, you know, setting things up like, for example, with the Khalid that we saw earlier on. Here's the taunt, though. Witty's in trouble.
No, Witty jumping back and forth. Wait the dragon. Over to Brusco. That's Maven walking up. Shadow Kill to Brusco. AOD. Able to escape.
He's still alive, and now they keep on going for it. Aaron Shiki's hitting back against Super Prince. The front lines are starting to crumble.
Revitalize. Witty coming back in. Kudo. Nakabrusco on diversion to the back as well. Taken down by Kurt with that primal wrap.
And they'll make it happen. First blood still going, though.
Oh, Brusco. Oh.
He's alive, right? Oh, good. They all good. All right. First blood goes through as expected. We weren't hoping for this game to be extremely bloody. It's still a marathon. It's not a race.
Aran will be trying to zone them away. Queller comes in from King Kong. Fabian on Aran gonna go for the stun. Kurt with the onward, and that's the kill with a soul sever. 2 kills for the neutral objective. Fabian.
He's fine. Oh, whoa, he goes back, Kirk.
Oh, they're not done with it yet. They want to keep on trading as much as they can. They cannot let this gold go too far off their leads.
You see, already, the back and forth, the pendulum is already swinging this early in the game, and that's what you want to do. If you're TLID, you want to go in for those pickoffs. You utilize the fact that you're so mobile on this Hayabusa for Fabian. He does pick up a Hunter Strike already, too. Black Shoes already used from Yehezkiel.
Yeah, that was a lot of damage, man. Diversion. Don't know if they spot it. Yehezkiel spots it. Oh, no one takes it. Just a bit of vision, utility here and there for FNOP.
Great call. But so far, you can tell that both teams are trying to determine where the battle lines are, right? Respect the borders. The river has been such a dangerous place already in the first 4 minutes of the game, and only very small advantages have been created. So far, King Kong a single level ahead of Fabian for now, and things could start snowballing out of control, because even Kirk has a lead on Iran.
He has a lead right now, still kind of checking out the area here too, locking in the buffs before this next objective does come up. But so far, so good. Even for Fnatic Onyx, PH could be in trouble. Pops the Primal Wrath, might get run down.
No flicker. Fabian with the quad shadow, able to connect onto Kirk. He is all isolated. He will not use the resources here. It will just be a kill. A good pickoff for the cavalry. And Fnatic Onyx PH have knocked off the trade on the opposite side. Close, but still no cigar this time. Would he able to cover on Aaron Shiki, knowing the motions coming in from Fnatic Onyx? That first rotation looks good. Here comes the next fight. Taunt in the Soul Sever from King Kong. Revitalize used up by Ana. Almost done over to Brusco. AOG defensively. And that will be it in that skirmish. Meanwhile, the Usurper, Fabian, up top, picking up a turret. Diversion coming down as well. King Kong charging up the surge. Won't be able to find it. Fabian should be able to escape freely.
Gets out freely, gets a turret. Fabian doing work right now. He's everywhere on the Hayabusa. And that's what Fnatic Onyx PH has to watch out for. Head on a swivel, but again, they have the Luo Yi. We saw Super Friends play this hero to a T throughout this tournament. And for the M6 in general, it's been such a crucial pick for a lot of teams in their compositions and how they approach the macro level of the game. Now that this turtle is up, though, second one for the taking, TLID has a very minor lead. And they'll try to get control of this too. Again, even if they plant Yehezkiel up front as a mage, it's fine. He can always black shoes out and just try to bait out some of the resources from Fnatic, and that's why they're so careful on the approach. Oh, bottom side. Oh, Caroline actually. Oh, man, Fabian already used a shadow kill earlier, so no kill. Diversion on. Stopping the bush. Aaron Shiki with a dash away from the Earth Shatter. Now it's Witty coming down. Kinko securing the turtle. They finds it. They managed to walk away. If they disengage now, it's going to be a plus for Fnatic Onyx PH here. But the Usurper will not let this stand. He's looking for another turret. That's two already secured. At this point, this guy, he's a jungler, but he's also a turret destroyer, right? He's pushed down 2 tier 1s. But look at this side of the jungle. They're going to be focusing here. Witty should be able to get out, takes the Queller, but he's fine. But they do take a buff, and so they are going to try to find something around the map, and that's what Fnatic Onyx will always do when they get the information on the moves coming out from TLID. So next focus for them, again, both teams already having one turtle, but the next time this comes up, the Lord is for the taking here. And that's where we really have to start to look. Are the items in place? And then to find out. Witty,
Dash away from the GQ. No Witty to come to the back spot. Kelra makes the kill. Shadow kill from Fabian. Kelra's to be taken down by Fabian.
Revitalize already popped down, and Super Prince is going to get zoned out. Brusco should be gone for it. Yehezkiel bails out with the black shoe.
Oh, they still want to fight. Oh, back into Fabian. Kirk going in as well. Primal Wrath to take him down. Shiki bursted by the yin-yang reaction of Super Prince.
That's a great collapse and clap back from Fnatic Onyx PH. This has been a battle of inches so far. We haven't seen any real momentum, but at least this time round, Fnatic Onyx PH fight on their terms after the initial aggression from TLID.
and that's what they had to have happen at this point. Again, waiting for that first Lord to come up. That also allowed now Kelra has the Malefic gun on the Bruno alongside the Haas Claw. So he's got the 2 items. And over on the other side, Aaron Shiki still building up into the second item. But they also grabbed themselves that tier 1 turret now on the top side. So playing into this in 20 seconds when that Lord comes up, Fnatic might decide to go ahead and approach this in a different way. Remember, every single time they can utilize Super Friends with the Luo Yi, show up at an off angle, and surprise TLID.
All right, so we're seeing a different approach to the Granger here in the grand finals. Aaron Shiki going for the safer approach. Usually we see Skypiercer item 2 diversion.
Oh,
Fabian's gonna be careful here.
they spot
Action, oh, the taunt as well. No, Fabian gets away from the taunt, gets out of the worldy. Or just the last shot, actually. Not even worldy committed by Kelra.
But now the Lord, they've lost position on it, right? With Fabian so low, I don't think he can contest for this. Let's see how TLID is going to handle as they drop the Glorious Pathway.
Glorious Pathway down as well. King Kong able to burst it down with Soul Sever. Witty jumping in with his Hundo and the Dragon.
And then continue forward. Aaron Shiki holding his ground. They're looking for a fight. Oh, Fabian fights one. Kelra takes down another. And now without any purifies, Kelra walks forward, finds it. Kurt takes it. Aaron Shiki is down. And that is going to be a full wipeout here for Fnatic Onyx PH.
The gold standard. Kelra making his mark on the world stage in the grand finals. A wipeout. And now he's just balling down these turrets.
He saw Fabian take the turrets. He's taken the team and the mid turret tier 2. Take a look at the instant replay brought to us by Kavia. This setup was so good, and it looked like Team Liquid had an idea on how they could win this team fight. But the the biggest problem. Look at the positioning for Kelra. Untouched, just able to move and groove and slide around and pick up the kills and clean things up.
I think that TLID, even though they had an idea in terms of execution, could not find it just yet, right? Oh no, Witty.
Oh, man, Kelra! This is a push! Aaron Shiki even AOT, Aaron Shiki even falling to Brusco! Reversion to the back!
And Brusco, he doesn't mind with Kirk and Super Friends already holding on. Yes, kill. Making sure those minions are down. They can't get out of this just yet.
Kelra is unstoppable, and it's going for more. Oh, as well! Kelra gets a double!
Into the slide, he wins the toss up. The slide is all on point.
Talking about chemistry, the Super Family well connected there. Making sure that the onward and the slide tackle are perfectly in combination, and they get to walk out for free despite being in the base with Holy Shields.
And this is why it's just so infuriating and so annoying to go up against Fnatic Onyx Philippines. For the few 6 minutes we saw, we were like, all right, they were matching King Kong, they were matching Kirk. But then Kelra shows up. Oof.
It's a tough game. It's a really, really tough game here. Based on the items, you can see the respect coming up from both sides, all right? Aaron Shiki currently at 2 items with Hunter Strike and the BOD. He's not going for Sky Piercer this time around, but even Favian, right? He's not going for Sky Piercer either. He wants instant power. He hasn't gotten the War Axe just yet, but decided to finish the Malefic Roar first.
There it is, locking that in. And this is the difficult part of it, because if we have to look at and break this down, Team Liquid ID, they just had a landslide gold deficit now. You can see it, right? They're feeling pretty good. The lightning emotes are out, the charge is up. But for Team Liquid ID, they kind of relying on Witty. But the problem is, he prioritized Magic Resist. But the Kelra's the problem right now. A couple shots alone brings Witty down, even Aran on the high-lows. So now this is where they go ahead and continue to put the pressure, take the buffs, take whatever they want. And it's up to Team Liquid ID and Witty and Aran to figure out how do we deal with this.
I mean, right now, the next item, Power Spike, that we can see, wins a major, already purchased by Kelra. He doesn't mind to go for those 1v1s, either against Favian or even from Aaron Shiki. But at this point, I think that TLID will have to just sacrifice another inhibitor. This next fight is going to make it or break it for them.
Yeskil just can't get close. The fact of the matter is, Kelra already has the Malefic gun, so he's going to be outranging the grooves coming down from Yeskil. And if he needs to dish out a bit more damage to get the kill, he's going to have to sacrifice the black shoes, maybe even the flicker. And I don't know, man. I don't see Lilia as an execute hero.
I mean, Lilia is supposed to be designed against Brusco, maybe even Kurt, sometimes even King Kong if he's already dashed into the middle of the fight, right? He needs Aaron Shiki to kind of slow them down so he can make sure he hits every single one of his abilities. But for now, Fnatic Onyx, they understand that they've got better team fighting overall based on the number of fights that they've had around the river.
And Aran will go ahead and give the information that Fnatic Onyx PH will go ahead and start up with the Lord here. They're pretty scattered across the map, so they might just be making the call, you know what, give up the Lord, give it to them, and get ready for a base defense, because they got a lot of catching up to do. They're down 8,000 gold. The good thing is they hold on to the base turrets earlier on, but now that this Lord is getting ready to siege in, and what we've seen so far from the team fighting capabilities of this lineup from Fnatic Onyx PH, Team Liquid ID is going to have to pull some type of a miracle already trying to spot things out. Aran is there alongside Fabian. Wants to go ahead and grab his purple buff before this fight, before this defense that they need to pull off. But they're just shoved off of it again. So they have no choice but to go ahead and get prepped and ready for that Lord crashing down the bottom side, managing the waves. The flares will go out, giving them the information at this point. And so now, Fnatic Onyx PH, are they going to press the situation, dive into the base, over the walls as the Lord charges in?
Wouldn't be too bad of an idea if they do so, right? As long as Kelra has the space, he can do whatever he wants to, and even sidestepping the Death Sonata shots just to make sure TLID gives him respect.
Look at that, Malefic gun. That's what it gets you. You can hit the turret from so far away. It's a mortar. Slowly but surely just catapulting his way into the base turret. 2 base turrets gone just like that. They're blitzing the base of Liquid.
Are they going to go for a third here?
Oh, yeah.
That's a dragon. Over to Kirk. Kirk's gonna be caught. Aaron Shiki unable to dish out enough damage. And demolished. Obliterated in front.
And with that's tough. Aran is gone. Diversion.
Oh my god, almost a fail. Deal is quelled. And Brusco goes in for the AOG. 2 members down.
Literally vaporized at this point. Now going for the endgame scenario. They just don't have the items to hold on.
Kelra's just focused. FNOP claim game 1 in a dominant fashion.
Dominant game number 1. 7-1 and 5 for the gold standard Kelra, but man, the entire lineup shined in their own way through this. And for Team Liquid Indonesia, a lot to go ahead and calculate from here. Again, it's a best of 7. There's plenty of time to readjust, reconfigure the game plan here, and we'll see how those adjustments are made. But first, of course, we're gonna have this broken down by our panelists over there to tell us exactly what happened here in game number 1.
Let me tell you what happened. Fnatic Onyx Philippines, this is the first time they play at the Axiata Arena stage. The first game is just to remind you of what they're about. If you're thinking coming in that, okay, maybe TLE has chance, they came in here and they're like, let me remind you, we've not dropped a single series.
Everybody asked the question, what is Fnatic Onyx doing? Are they resting? Are they preparing? What are they doing in their off time while you see TLID fight it up against SRG? And I guess now we have our questions answered.
Dude, honestly, like looking at this game, I gotta say, 10 minutes flew by so fast. Shout out to Hello Panda, by the way. 10 minutes flew by so fast that I was shocked. I went for a quick toilet break. I came back, and then I'm like, what happened? You gentlemen, tell me, what happened?
That was what you call a lightning round.
That was a lightning round. That was definitely, it was a quick little, that was a pre-round. You know, it was a too low on health. You know, things of that nature was my issue, at least, with this match.
And in comes a term that we often hear in analysis, forced errors. I think it was up to the bruiser, Brusco, playing that man-to-man defense throughout 80% of the game that checked Weedy. It's so hard as a Cho if you can't find odd angles, and what makes it worse is the extra battlefield mobility provided for by the by the Lo Yi. The Lilia was just she had to check every corner. The Lo Yi, though, you saw that there was a micro diversion, even inside their own base. TLID wasn't safe. So it's this mid duo that keeps TLID on their toes even from the start.
And I think we all know what the tenacity does now. I mean, you got a good showcasing of that from Brusco the Bruiser. There were just so many engagements, but I felt like he was like 1 HP, but that little bit of defense made the difference. And that just shows you, it's more of the, I don't really feel like the draft was the issue. It was just micro plays. You see Witty just overextending, getting picked off, and that one slight decision made the difference.
I want to touch on the draft a little bit, but we're going to do it after this analysis because I'm seeing something here. I wonder if it will happen again in game number 2, but now we're looking at the damage numbers, and Kelra had a pretty good time. But honestly, Aaron Shiki, even though from a losing position, 46,000 damage, honestly isn't that bad.
What the Untouchable One did was get out of lane much sooner. I think that's where a lot of the Sonics, all of the fans of the Super Fam, that's where they stood up and said, oh, it's real now. Because remember that first big team fight where everyone was part of, that I'd say Liquid ID won technically, he got out of the lane, Kelra didn't. So that means Aaron Shiki and Liquid ID know how to use the map and how to space out when they can. Apparently that didn't cost Aaron Shiki much. So that's why he dealt this much damage. Compared to Kelra, who took it slow, played the long game, and eventually hit his power spike, it was inevitable for the core to outscore Liquid IDs.
And now we got to look at the MVP of the game. Is going to be the gold standard. Kelra on that Bruno. One of the best heroes giving it to one of the best players. That's a recipe for disaster.
Yeah, I mean, Kelra has continuously been a monster, and he needed to take that patience in the early game. He needed to wait right around 7 minutes. When those power spikes start hitting, and that's when FNOP is like, okay, let's do this. And Kelra did it so well. Even that last big team fight, we'll see it when the highlights come up, I'm sure. He goes off, he takes down Witty while the rest of the team is fighting, and then he comes in through second, third quarter of that fight and just starts cleaning up with perfect distancing, perfect turnaround.
And how did he do that? A priority on Haas clause. So many times in this game, especially in the early to mid, Kelra we put down to a third of his health. And that's why you said in the later 2/3 of that fight, he would somehow come back. It's because of the Haas claw. And gentlemen, guess what the second item was?
The range.
The Malefic gun. And that suddenly changed the way Team Liquid ID had to push their frontliners forward. Aran was at half health even before he could see Kelra. Witty was usually dead even before the fight really began.
Yeah, honestly, looking at this matchup here, Fnatic Onyx Philippines, we were talking about how great the micro is, and so far they're really showcasing it. I feel like for both teams, they have this understanding that moving around the map, we both know how to do that. But let me out-muscle you. And I gotta say, Fnatic Onyx Philippines, they really showed their muscle here. Speaking of muscles, I'm actually looking at how the draft really progressed in the first game just now. In terms of how the game played out, we see a lot of different roles really making the picture of how this game plays out. But in the draft, it does look like Fnatic Onyx Philippines, they're respecting Fabian, making sure that he doesn't get the alpha. So in my head, is it going to be a strategy for TLID not to ban out the junglers just so that Fabian and King Kong can have a fair matchup? Because TLID, when Fabian is not on a hero that he can initially perform by himself, not saying he's not good on the Hayabusa, but something like a Joy, something like a Suyo, it's a different TLID.
It's definitely a different TLID, and I think when we come to this next game, there's a big chance TLID takes first pick. So we are definitely going to see some differences in draft, differences in bans, and the way things are driven through that. Big chance maybe we see them favor Fabian and give him the Suyo up front, or maybe if not, bans it out. We'll have to see exactly how it goes. And again, I don't think it was a complete draft issue. I think FNOP knew their power spike opportunity. They executed it perfectly, and TLID didn't respect it. They didn't respect that 7.5 minute rush and just over-engaged. They didn't keep it steady.
I agree with you that I also don't feel it is a draft issue, but we gotta respect the draft here because it really does look like the coaches, they're making some mental notes of how they feel, how they move around the map with certain heroes. And I feel like this is the intricacies when we're looking at the grand finals. Is it a bad draft? Absolutely not. It's an amazing draft. But the coaches know the difference between a Joy, a Suyo, a Hayabusa, a Lancelot, a Lei. And that's why they're keeping the options to the point where it's like, you're good on this hero, but we know what you're gonna do on second minute, the third minute, and we can punish that.
Yeah, speaking of punish, we're seeing even the gold laners, like you're still seeing the Bruno starting to walk, you're seeing the Granger starting to walk. They're willing to roll that dice, right? If we get the Granger, hey, we know we can still win on it. If we get the Bruno, we can do that as well. So now it's more of that prio on limiting that jungle potential.
You know what? If it does come down to it, we are still looking at about, 47, 53 win rate for blue and red. If ever, some way, somehow, Liquid ID does, if Coach St. Lucas gives the blessing, hey, leave open the Joy, leave open the, I don't think the Fanny's gonna see the light of day. So leave open the Joy, and then they trade for the Blue Yo Joy. It's a question, is that going to be a fair game? Is that going to be like a better go for Team Liquid ID? I'd say no. I'd say it's possible that Liquid still just folds.
Question here. Before that, we gotta look at a quote here. The test of champions from Coach St. Lucas. Over the past 3 weeks, we've worked to instill a champion's mentality. Although the players are new to the M Series, they've embraced this mindset. Being a pro is easy, but developing a champion's mentality is not. After our second loss to FNOP, it was chaotic and emotional. We had to make adjustments to our playstyle and strategy. Facing them again will be a critical test, and losing for a third time would be devastating. As we prepare for this match, it all comes down to mentality, focus, and enjoying the match. Weezy, this is an insight that I have not seen. I didn't know losing against Fnatic Onyx Philippines affected them this badly. It was chaotic and emotional.
Well, I'll tell you what, to go somewhere you've never been, you got to be willing to do something you've never done, right? And that showcases that he's ready to take it to another level. He realizes that there's a difference from being a pro player and being a champion, right? It's bouncing back, being resilient, and that is what I expect to see from TLID in game number 2. Now, it's going to be a battle, right? It's these little decisions. We all agreed the draft is one thing, right? But it wasn't a one-sider because of the draft. It was just slight decisions that costed TLID that game.
You know what, Stefan? What was that little nugget of wisdom? To do something.
To go somewhere you've never been, you got to be willing to do something you've never done.
And that's what I'm trying to say about this whole jungle matchup. We've seen the Joy Suyo, we've seen the Fredrin Suyo, and we know how that works out. But what if TLID find a different angle of attack? Something that maybe we haven't even presented yet.
Granger jungle.
That,
Just don't ban.
I mean, Suzuki used it. Granger jungle. Pick up Granger and Bruno.
it's a different time.
Something different.
I mean, he is saying what you're saying, but I don't know if we're talking about that much extremes, I think I don't know. When I see the alpha in the last draft, FNOP decides to go for the alpha ban. And then we also see the Joy ban. I think you have to respect and kind of understand where they're approaching and say, fine, we're going to ban Suyo too. And just take all of those big picks off the field. Either you leave a lot open or you take it all off the field and bring it back down to Stone Age,
And
right? You bring it
here's-
back down to something different.
Here's why I'm so confident in the jungle argument for Fnatic on the Philippines. Is because we've seen games where King Kong was given scraps. We've seen King Kong forced to play the Fredrin again. We know that he is an assassin specialist. We know that he's such a mechanically gifted player. If you give him a hero that just presses button like this, heroes that I do well with, he still does well. Somehow he works for the team. So I don't know if Falcon can do just the same.
Yeah, but I feel like we can actually explore the idea coming in from Trax, make it ground zero, have a gentleman's agreement to be like, all these S-tier junglers starting to become a nuisance. If we take down most of them, then we'll see things like, heck, something we haven't seen in ages. Maybe we get to see the new skin of Baxia, who knows?
Don't tease me.
But the thing is,
I'm getting excited.
I feel like that is a very big risk to take because it's a gentleman's agreement. TLID might think that, but Onyx might read that and be like, oh, you want to get all of these junglers out? I'm not going to play your game. I'm not going to ban any of them out. I'm going to ban something else.
If I know anything, I know that Coach Wynot and Coach Hayes are gentlemen, but you're asking for it. If you just suddenly allow things like this, then you best believe be ready to be punished.
Well, I mean, we are in the state of a game, right, where we're on grand finals. These are the two best teams in the world. You know, you have to be able to play scraps if that's what you get. You have to be ready to go against super meta picks. You know, we can break down, we can theorize the draft all day long, but in the end, you know, like I said, I feel like in the end, Team Liquid ID has to perform in game with whatever is handed to them. They have to be prepared for that, and that's where I think they really need to step up here.
I think even with a gentleman's agreement, right? Even if you go even further beyond that, right? It's the elements inside the game that are making the difference. The crowd control, the burst damage, that's what's making the difference. And honestly, I feel like if Witty, if he can't find the setups, he needs help. You pick up this Lilia, right? You trust that that's going to deal the damage, and you expect Witty to pick up all these pieces and get these setups, and maybe Aran rushing in as well, but it's not enough. Maybe getting the mid laner, the crowd control should have been the aspect as well to help Witty on these engagements. If they had those setups, maybe Aran could be the one to deal out that damage.
Alexander, that is a good angle. I like that maybe Yehezkiel has to now suddenly play utility again, not true core.
But we've seen that happen, and for that to happen, he needs to have a hero like the Khalid so that there's some balance there. A little bit of damage, a little bit of crowd control. But remind me, remind you guys that in the draft, they actually targeted Yizki. I mean, like, after the first 3 picks, we knew what was going to happen. We knew that the mid lane was not going to be safe. They banned out the Novaria as well so that the Suyo can gank. So I see the idea here, gentlemen, but we're going up against King Kong. Mid lane, I gotta tell you, it's not safe. Even with the Aurora, even with the Vexana. At least that's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, so much of this game is going to be set up by the mid laners. Witty plays such an important part for his team, and he's really gotta perform. You know, I mean, and if the Cho is maybe the Cho is not the option. Yes, it feels good sometimes. You can get those big picks, but we're also seeing it just get melted down. His emblem build, he picks up Thrill, he gets damage instead of going full tank. You know, I mean, it's maybe a little bit smarter to do something a little bit bulky because you know Kelra is going to be hitting hard, and you know that King Kong is going to be hitting hard.
Just putting it out there. If there's no Khalid, there's also the Jawhead.
The Jawhead would have looked
A lot of
nice there.
damage.
I thought about it, but
A lot of damage.
we'll see what happens. We're jumping into the draft now. There goes the Cho ban. There goes the Suyo ban.
Oh no, it might actually happen. Go back to the
They want
start
Joy.
age. What if this is a Joy ban?
Joy ban. It's got to be.
Do you rush Alpha?
But then,
Hey, but the
FNOP
thing-
just picks Fred or something.
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, now we have a dynamic here because we know that MNOP, they can take risks in the drafts. Like, you can pick up the Joy. Dude, King Kong has played so many Joys, he probably tells his team, this is where he's pathing. This is where he's ganking. This is his power spike. This is how we deal with it.
This is what FNOP did so well on first pick. They didn't just ban one jungler. They banned the Alpha and the Joy. They said, Suigo is going to be gold this match. He's going to be the main prio. And I think this could be maybe the mess up from TLID, unless they're giving Joy over and they have a lot of confidence in a Fredrin here.
Unless they go for the Joy, which I think Fabian did, and we come into one of your major discoveries in the knockouts, Fredrin.
100% win rate against Joy right now. I mean, it's just looking good, but they don't have to pick it up front. They pick up the Bruno here. They can go for the Hilo, something of that nature. So Lu Yi, more comfort.
Yeah, gonna have the mobility, gonna have the element of surprise to work for Fnatic Onyx. Now, yeah, with the Joy pickup, definitely gonna be a challenge. I'm right there with you, Trex. I definitely believe with that 100% win rate on the Fredrin, that is possibly the wisest decision here. But, I mean, they've got a lot working for them already, right? You have this Bruno, a heavily prioed marksman, the best marksman so far, alongside the Granger as well.
I mean, here's the thing. Reminding that before this, Fnatic Onyx Philippines, they had a draft where it's 100% for that Bruno. I still remember the draft. It's Bruno, Faramis, Matilda, having the Joe in the EXP, as well as Fredrin in the jungle. They played that kind of composition before. They have an option to do that again.
Yep, that was game 1 against Falcon Esports of Myanmar. And that went all the way, but it opened with such a bang. I think they can definitely do that still with the Lu Yi. And there it is, the Fredrin, baby.
I knew it was coming. I mean, there's some coaches that maybe aren't willing to risk it. There's some coaches that maybe they don't feel comfortable with their jungler on this. But we've been saying it. King Kong will play whatever you hand him right now, and he's going to make this Fredrin look good. So what does TLID do to answer this? It's a troublesome spot. You either have full faith that you're going to be able to play around it, or you go for the Team Spirit swap. You go for the mid lane Joy maybe, and then it's a wait and bait.
That's an interesting idea, but I want to pull it back a bit. We were talking about this, where you were the one that said that you need some kind of control mage. And I said, if you want that, you need a damage roamer. And now they have that. They have the Khalid. And the thing is, they're not going up against an assassin now. They're going up against a Fredrin. So the counter here, the CC mid, as in like crowd control mid, it makes sense.
Yeah, and having this Joy is definitely gonna be a threat, but with that Fredrin, it's some good security from FNOP, and yeah, right there with you with your Heskill. He should be going for the utility realm. It looks like they were kind of on the same sheet of music as us, right? With the crowd control from Witty, it's just not enough of those setups. A lot of those engagements that they were fighting it out on, it lost because Brusco was the first one to find the major setup play to win over the trade.
Yep, I'm 100% with you, gentlemen, and I hope that Liquid ID is, because that's what they need right now, a stopper in mid. Aurora still up there. Vexana, if you really want to get down with.
Vexana.
If they put like a Farsa here, what would that feel like? Would that be enough? Would that be okay?
Or FNOP or TLID?
For Liquid.
For me, it's a little bit difficult because even the Bruno with the Worldy can cause chaos there.
And it's not so easy for you to spot where the diversion's coming from. In fact, we've seen half a dozen diversions spotted by the random ice blast by an Aurora. So yeah, I agree. Let's see if Liquid ID will go that route.
Also tough to pick up the Farza on this first pick set because FNOP can always bring in one more counter pick if they want. A lot of answers. I'm still wondering, are we sold on the fact that this Khalid is Roam right here? Or do we maybe see something else picked up for TLID?
I think Rome is the right decision, but you could possibly pull out the Gatot here as well. And I mean, it'd still kind of be the same situation. I feel like for Fnatic though, I feel like the same rule applies to them. They could change this up entirely. You have the Lu Yi, you have the crowd control. You technically could go in for a Mathilda here because you have Fredrin with the setup to Energy Eruption, and you also have a lot of crowd control from the Lu Yi.
One thing to note, the Matilda, this is what MPL Indonesia has picked up. For you to fight against a Matilda, you pick up that Khalid. So this Khalid is also showing to Fnatic Onyx Philippines that we know that Matilda is in your arsenal. We have the deterrent for that pick.
TLID, you got to come up with something here. They go for the Vex, they go for the stiff arm, they go for the ability to help out in these objectives. It's something that they had trouble with last time that we saw. Final pick, EXP lane. What about the CC? Against, is Shreds down on this Fredrin?
It's good against the Fredrin. The only one.
Can't survive diversion ambushes. Instead, they go for the favorite, the Phobius. That's what? 1 to 3 dashes.
Yeah.
So far.
And right now, Fnatic Onyx Philippines final pick here, and they themselves pick up the CC. This is a pretty good pick, but gentlemen, so far we've been calling the draft. We know the differences of ideas coming into game number 2. TLID going up against Fnatic on Philippines. Fnatic on Philippines. White, in terms of the win condition, they have Kara, they have the CC as well. But now, thank you very much, gentlemen. But we have to continue with the show. We have to give it over to the casters for game number 2 of this best of 7.
Thank you very much, panel, for breaking down game 2 draft here. Once again, 14 minutes on the clock in game 1. Can TLID bring the series even, 1-1 in this best of 7? Gideon, how do you feel about the lineup?
I think it's going to be a little bit hard, right? Lane-to-lane matchups obviously leaning towards gold, but hopefully they can get enough of a lead on Aaron Cheeky and hold it until about mid-game where he can pop off. Otherwise, for not that is, I mean,
Yeah.
The Fredrin speaks for itself. The CC2, Fredrin against Joyce, CC against that Khalid and the Phobius matchup.
We'll see if it's all going to come to place once again. Team Liquid ID, a different lineup, able to fight the range that we saw earlier and maybe even contain Kelra. The gold standard on the Bruno once again as they go ahead and face off. But even with this, you know, the Fredrin has popped up a little bit more throughout the end of the M6 tournament here. But it was a newer pick that was picked up a lot against these assassin junglers, or, for example, the Joy that ends up working out really well. So King Kong going back to a familiar and comfort pick, if you will, that the world was used to. Now in the mid lane, still trying to check things out here. Super Prince really low.
I feel like the world forgot about the 2 years that we had to deal with Fredrin in the
Can we
jungle.
forget?
I don't think anybody can forget that, right? But considering that Team Liquid has the Khalid on their side, they can force out priority, whether through mid, through top side. It depends on the direction that they want to go to. And for now, it's a help Aran get out of this lane. We're just going to let Aaron Cheeky do his thing in the gold.
Yeah, I wonder what emblems he actually went for here. If Varan actually went for more agility, Wilderness Blessing, perhaps just rotate around the map and help the team get neutral objectives. Or if it's more of that brawly style where he wants to go up against Kurt, he wants to win it out. Witty, though, on the other hand, this is a comfort pick for him. Witty the Wise on the Khalid. We saw this also yesterday. Flick around King Kong. Wow, that's quick for a Fredrin.
Yeah, he showed up real fast. Here's the look at the emblem. So to answer that, Aran does have the Festival of Blood, a little bit of extra movement speed too, but it is also just Fnatic RPH that likes to roam around. Couple tenacities. Again, this is a tank here. Super Prince Loyi that we have seen in the past, but again, now mid lane.
Oh, no flicker on Witty. Yeah, reaction coming down as well. Revitalize. Oh, Witty gonna be caught. Pops in. The healing curve gonna be caught in the Curse Blast. FNOP and CLID are just poking each other.
I mean, this is just the kind of predetermined. Hey, I demand respect around the river, and I understand why TLID wants to fight, right? At the end of the day, they can give up these neutral objectives, but they cannot afford to take that permanent damage. Whoa! They jump right into the fight.
Oh, in front of pursuit, first blood for Aran. King Kong though picks it up. That's an Eternal Guard. Disengage now. Taunt over 2. That's the kill over Witty. Gonna be caught in the bad spot. No flicker for Witty. Oh, no kill. FNOP don't want to chase. Spadian steals away the purple buff and gets out.
Gets out. Going to be able to take that purple buff away, but Fnatic RPH want to go and fight. They will get it. I'm surprised too. Witty was still able to survive that, even without the flicker that he had to burn earlier on. But ultimately, still even. You know, nothing too crazy, but the objective did go over to Fnatic RPH.
Well, actually, I think it might not be as even as we think it is, right? Fabian's level 60, King Kong's level 5. He had a previous 2-level lead because of the stolen buff. So I think that Aran was given the call, hey, if you can get a kill, that'd be great. And now Fabian will maintain that 2-level lead throughout this match.
Yeah, the fact that Witty actually got out was just so valuable for them. They got the purple buff down below though. It's gonna be a gank. Aaron Shiki, good use of the Death Sonata to get the AoE down on Kelra, and it clears the wave just in time to escape up top. Aran's actually winning this match. Kirk popped back again in front of pursuit. Oh, that was not the empowered skill 1.
Talk about the discipline, man. I mean, he held on to the vengeance. They're going to take a trip, though. Where's the top side?
Fabian electrifying beats, gets him out to safety. Witty rotating as well. Raging Snap switch to Super Prince. Flickers out. He forces the flicker as soon as possible. Super Prince in so much trouble, gets hit by the Eternal Guardian as well. Aran picks up the kill in the front of pursuit. Now Brusco is going to be chased down. Witty rotating again, going in, looking for some damage, but Brusco should be fine. It'll be another trade on the board, and a CLID were capitalizing on FNOP's attempts.
Now they pull ahead slightly more for Team Liquid ID. And now Super Friends, that's twice, right? Oh, to Kirk.
Vengeance used up by Kirk. Can he get away? Witty will try to jump in. Infernal Pursuit. Oh, so Aaron's brave by 1v2. Kirk slain by Witty up top.
Okay, no pressure, no sweats there. They got the dive off, they got the kill that they were looking for, and still we see that the advantage is held by TLID.
This is like a page out of the book we saw in game 1 from FNOP, where the layering of the skills and the timing from TLID is on point so far. Now, can they maintain that? They've gotten themselves a nice, comfortable gold lead, 2K ahead. They're building in now. First items all locked in, but this, Iran again.
Oh, the pursuit now getting chunked low. Oh, pick up the kill. Fabian jumping in the back line. Electrifying beats to run away. Eternal Guard not connecting. That's a good in-air reaction. Actually, now flicker forward. AOT.
He continues moving forward. Can only hold his position as Winnie has to slow them down. They find one in Aaron, Cheeky, and Kirk trading, and they want to go for one with the Raging Sandstorm. Wow. This fight between these two teams, nobody is giving up. Resources being thrown left and right.
No, I mean, it looks like you would think that there wouldn't be that moment, but then they crashed down. And again, that fight was started by Iran. He wanted it, but also now the two turtles in the hands of FNOP plus a turret. Kelra, one hit away still, might go down initially. Iran goes in. No, he flickers forward.
Yeah, a big flicker burnt, and Kelra is just having fun here in the bottom lane. Kelra with 2 kills is just so scary.
I mean, it's scary now, but he doesn't have the Berserker's Fury, right? He's building up to a Malefic gun, which I think he should be getting sometime soon. In the meantime, I think that Fnatic on a PH, despite the slight lead going over to TLID, the first item power sparks are finally starting to roll in.
Yeah, they're catching up with those first items. That's a Thunderbelt now, too. Super Friends just got the glowing wand, so now working on his next. And I'm surprised, again, where's he going to go with this diversion? Brings in King Kong with him. Malefica now pick up for Kelra. They're going to get spotted out, but Fabian might be in trouble.
Okay, Fabian in the retreat going in. Super Friends flickering back into King Kong. Now it's Guitar over. Fabian locked down. Brusco picking up that kill. Aran looking for the play. Raging Sandstorm in the flicker.
Oh, he connects, and now the revitalized Kelra alive, Winnie. He's going to get melted still. King Kong holds the line.
Kelra again open, and Kirk with a follow-up. Kelra gets his skill down. It's a wipeout.
What? Just like that, 6 minutes, 36 seconds into the game, they achieve a wipeout against Team Liquid ID. That's what we call a pinch.
That is a pinch and more, and they're going to get more off of it. Again, you already see the lightning come out. It looks like they want to play that way even in game 2. And Team Liquid ID, after that shocking wipeout, will have to readjust the game plan moving forward. Last turtle spawning up. Kirk just holding his own.
He knows. He knows. He's a little too strong right now. I don't know how else I can say this, right? Just a War Axe. Oh, where's it? Where's it going? To the top side. Doesn't spot him out. I'm pretty sure they saw the River Crab get taken there.
Oh,
You're going to send him up. Witty.
he spots him out.
Go!
Puts him away. Now it's Brusco with the taunt as well. King Kong there. You get reaction. Oh, shot. Witty gets away just barely as he buys enough time for Fabian to recall.
How many times has Witty gone away in this game, and he's going to have to continue to do that? Even looking at the items, again, as we split down the roles, as Kelra works on the tier 1 here. Witty's only got Thunderbelt himself. You can see Starlium Scythe now, too, for Fabian, still working on his next, and Iran, Thunderbelt, too. So even the front line might be in danger because of the fact that this power spike for Kelra specifically.
Look at this guy!
Look at it. That's just the preview already, and he doesn't even have the Berserker's Fury yet.
Oh my goodness, I'm looking at the gold rankings on our little monitors, and he's got a 2K lead of his own, right? Oh my goodness. No, he's not gonna die here, right? They just gotta sacrifice the tier 2. No point to fight now.
Kelra is out-poking and out-ranging a Granger.
Yeah, that's, you know, at that point, and now that he gets and just works that turret down, King Kong's still looking for a fight. Witty.
Kelra again with a side. Brusco picks up the kill. Eros, that Sonata does nothing. Kelra, slight tackle forward.
He's just showing off at this point. He's just showing off. I mean, what else can you say about it, right? He's getting away with everything. He's sitting there. He's got the super fan behind him.
Oh my lord.
If I had the super fan behind me too, I'd probably be as confident as Kelra, but right now they're already assaulting the base turret.
Aran walking up, Eternal Guard not connecting. Brusco was able to dodge away from that one. Kelra is just munching on this turret from out of turret range.
We're not even hitting 9 minutes here as we move into that 9 minutes. 4 to 10, 7K gold lead. This is a ridiculous amount as Fnatic, Onic, PH are putting Team Liquid in a slow chokehold and they just can't breathe.
No, they can't. Yang reaction. The balls from Kelra. Diversion from Prince. And the diversion is truly a diversion. The mid-win comes in and Kelra picks it up. Reggie Sansa flicker. Kelra!
Holding it forward, Aran has to hold the line. He goes down. Brusco cuts them off a double for Kelra.
Again, the diversions will work in favor. Whether they send it forward or not, they make a win. And now working on the mid turret.
They're making this look so easy right now, and this is almost impossible to come back from. Yehezkiel just doesn't have the items, and with the next wave already crashing on, let's see how Fnatic want to push through.
Fabian, on the backside.
On it. Oh man, Fabian, he tried to go for the flank, but Kelra's the real assassin in game 2.
Honestly, at that point, now they can go ahead and focus on the Lord. It looks like they'll do that, but I wouldn't have expected at this point, 10 minutes in, 2 base turrets gone, non-existent for Team Liquid ID here.
I'm with you, Naisu. I did not expect this game to go so far to Team Liquid ID's control. I think a large part of it is because they've taken these fights into skirmishes, but Fnatic Onic slowly pushes these skirmishes together into one full 5v5, and that's what Team Liquid ID is failing to see.
Let's think about it here. Team Liquid ID, how do they adjust from this? They're 8,000 gold behind. There's no way they touch any area here around this Lord, so that's more so of what's the game plan for the base defense on this push-in.
I feel like this is what we call in the business a checkmate angle for Fnatic Onic PH. They're not 10K, but they've got 2 inhibitor turns, which is already wild. This, with the Lord as well, I'm going to double check the items real quick on our monitor, and yeah, not enough of an item power spike. King Kong knows it, that they've got them in the triangle choke.
That's the beast. King Kong is just standing there, getting vision for the team, and now they're looking for another siege.
At this point, clearing up the waves. But again, as that Lord does make its way, they are going to work it down, but they just want this bottom turret down if they can fully expose the base. Lord making its way down the mid. And again, without those shields of being part of this defense, that's a big advantage for Fnatic Onic PH because they did the work earlier on. So they all just have to wait for this Lord to push in and then decide, do they end the game? Do they take a turret? How do they approach it?
Let's see. Aran getting taunted back up. Oh my, Kelra's is dealing so much damage. I tackle. Kelra got the monster kill. Fabian gonna be caught in the curtain call. Witty looking for an angle. Both base turrets taken now. Witty with a quick sand guard.
Now they're going for the back line. Brusco's buying some time, and Kelra doesn't care anymore. He's going straight for the crystal to put it to a 2-0 for Fnatic Onic PH.
You thought game 1 was fast. Well, Fnatic Onic PH said we'll make it faster. 11:50, and now sitting at 2-0 in the grand final, best of 7. What is going on here?
They're looking like the more polished team right now.
Kelra has never made it to World Championship before. And the first one he's made it to, he might just get finals MVP here.
He just might. The whole team completely locked in already. It's shown us in game 1 and game 2. Panel, what do you guys think? Are FNOP locked in? What's going on here?
What we think here is that in M Series history, it's either a 4-0 or a 4-3. And now it's looking like it's going to the direction of a 4-0 because I gotta say the first 2 games, those were quick, but might I remind you, it happened here at Axiata Arena. That impossible happened where we had a reverse sweep. But either ways, this is looking a little bit too much.
Oh, setting the tone, Fnatic Onic again, and this time even faster than game number 1. That's a hard pill to swallow for any team in this situation. And now Team Liquid ID back to the drawing board again for game number 3. What do they need to do to make the difference?
Yeah, there's a saying that lightning doesn't strike twice in the same place.
Yeah.
In Axiata Arena, a lightning round back-to-back just happened, son.
Lightning could strike twice, if we see some sort of miracle happen in a sense of reverse sweep, if we see TLID maybe turn things around here, but it is looking rough. FNOP seem like they were born for this night right now, not just in the draft, man, but from gameplay to the whole package, from the coaching staff to the players. They are handling it all beautifully.
First of all, let me just say, okay, like, I'm honestly more interested in the highlights because looking at the plays here, Fnatic on the Philippines, all 5 members, they're playing it very, very clean. However, we do have to be critical here because this is the grand finals for the World Championship, and TLID are making some mechanical mistakes, like Aran even trying to engage second skill first and then flickering forward. Weedy not hitting the skill shots. Like, TLID, they have to get in the zone because right now, it does seem like something's going on. Something's going on that they're missing their skills here.
I'll tell you what's going on. I can't speak for what Liquid is doing so far because these are, you know, some blunders that they've committed before. But for Fnatic on the Philippines, this is a lineup that they tried before against Liquid ID. It was game number 2 in the upper bracket finals, wherein Fnatic Onic played a very similar lineup. You just switch up a few pieces, but it's still King Kong on the Fredrin and Kirk on a sustainable XP laner, much like the CC. They lost that game in the hands of Liquid ID, but as you pointed out, Trex, they learned a few things. They switched things around so that it wouldn't repeat itself.
And they get a little bit more damage this time. They get the CC in the gold lane instead of having a Uranus, you know, instead of having something a little more stagnant. Also, Kelwer gets on the Bruno. You have this late game potential, and overall, FNOP just played this game very well. Even early on, they were willing, I mean, they took a death on one of those invades, but they were consistently putting pressure. They didn't want to let Fabian scale. They didn't want to let Arian Shiki scale. They closed this game out in 11 minutes and 50 seconds, and they played it exactly how they needed to play it.
Let me just say, I kind of feel like every single time TLID poses some kind of problem, it looks like Onic, they have the answer. Because I gotta say, Avian this time, he got the joy. But the answer was there. Right? We got the Fredrin. And let me tell you, 009 on King Kong's Fredrin. And we heard what Mirko said. That's a pretty fast Fredrin.
Hey, that's the beast taking care of him. And did we not talk about this pre-match that compared to Fabian, as much as I love the Usurper, King Kong, as much as he is a micro-mechanically gifted player, he doesn't mind hunkering down and saying, all right, I'm going to play a role here. If you need me just counter the Joy, I will.
And this is another game for the Fredrin to prevail over the Joy again.
100% still.
100% win rate on that. And you know what? I'm starting to realize a pattern, right? It's to get the roamer uncomfortable, get Witty uncomfortable, right? And you've seen him go from a setup roamer to now a damage roamer, but it's still the same recipe for the side of Fnatic Onic, right? They know if they go aggressive super early, if Brusco can find the setup, even picking off Witty is the answer for them. There was a point in the game where we saw the Haas Claws into the Malefic Gun, and the only defense on the board was Thunderbelt from both of Aran and Witty, which is not enough. And then the Berserker's Fury even came in before they built another defensive item.
Wheezy, at this point, what, the first 8-9 minutes of the game, Thunderbelt isn't even a real defense item.
I agree.
You need to get the stacks on it, and if you're getting stacks against a team that is, what, 5K, 6K ahead of you, under 10 minutes already penetrating your base, that's a losing fight.
So this is how you touch the untouchable Aaron Shiki. You make the front line crumble. Because game number 1, game number 2, panelists, this is what you guys have been talking about. Weedy, Aran, these are amazing players. They're worthy of World Championship, but Fnatic Onic Philippines keep on countering them. And now, we gotta look at the MVP of the game. It's 2 times now. Twice with the Bruno, the gold standard, Kelra.
They're gonna run out of angles to shoot him from the same corridor, man. He's gonna keep getting the nod here.
I mean, if he keeps getting the Bruno.
I mean, yes, the Bruno's a problem, and it's true. At this point, you completely switch up your draft ideas and just maybe hunker down in the gold lanes. But honestly, just like King Kong, Kelwer's gonna play with scraps, man.
I still
You
feel
can
like
put whatever in his hands. Plenty of teams. I mean, I get it. The Bruno's a problem, but plenty of teams have beaten the Bruno. So there has to be something.
I feel like the goal lane is solved. I feel like the goal lane, it's everything else that's impacting here. We're talking about roamers. We're talking about the junglers. But at this point, it almost does feel like the draft makes an impact. But the players that pilot it, oh my goodness. Fredrin is a counter to the Joy, but you still have to use it well. And King Kong used it well.
Yeah, he used it amazingly. There was a fight in here where Joy, we might see it here in a minute. Joy gets invaded in the orange buff, and Joy just can't move, man. Joy gets either hit by the duality, gets taunted by Fredrin. Fabian is essentially useless in every fight whenever they're all grouped up. And it is just tough times for the side of TLID.
At this point, it's uncountable to shoot this.
That's always winning these games to get your gold laner online.
TLID have to stop trying to brute force their way through this. Need to put some respect into Fnatic Onic Philippines. We're seeing in the end, that last moment, Witty goes for this big land on him 3 seconds from nobody here with you. You're not going to be able to kill him. He still will have a flicker after that catch. And either way, you're about 7,000 behind in gold. You are not going to be able to brute force win a fight against Fnatic Onic Philippines right now. They need to steady it down, slow it down, respect the other team, because Witty's going for some plays right now that he cannot go for in a grand finals matchup.
And that's without even acknowledging the mid duo of Fnatic Onic Philippines. They play the same hero, Louis Gatot on Brusco and Super Prince. If you start attacking the other lanes, that means these two are just free. There's a happy ones they're picking up.
It's funny because if Witty had more items, maybe it'd have been a little bit of a different story. This is literally a situation where it's like, hey, you're not built like that.
Something that I do have to point out, the mid duo coming in from Fnatic Onic Philippines, both Brusco as well as Super Friends, they're essentially stopping what the mid duo of TLID wants to do. You want to rotate? Excuse me, sir, but let's have a 2v2 here in lane. Like, no matter what's going on, what they do is stopping. That really enables King Kong to move around the jungle. Like, we've been watching these kind of games where King Kong looks very free, but we have to remember those two people, Brusco as well as Super Friends, they're allowing King Kong, number one, to do what he wants. If he wants to enter the opponent's jungle, go for it. But they also prevent. If Fabian wants to go inside Onyx territory, Brusco as well as Super Friends stops that. These two players, we don't talk about them that much, but they, in my personal opinion, is what making King Kong look absolutely amazing. Now, right now, this is a 2-0. We gotta have some different opinions here because panelists, we've been talking a lot, but now I want the opinion of Coach Yep, where he's at courtside with our host. So let's see what Coach Yep has to say for this matchup.
Thank you, the panel. Here's Michelle with Rema for our courtside report. Now I'm having the Vice President of Onyx Esports franchise, Yep, with me, but I still prefer to call as Coach. Is that okay?
Yeah, sorry, Coach.
I prefer still to call you as Coach. Is that okay for you? Okay, so how are you doing here?
I'm fine.
Fine, yeah. So would you like to introduce to us more about your work as a Vice President? Because I believe it's much different, like the work as a coach, right?
Well, basically, just for this M series, I'm here to help and support Onyx Philippines.
Just help here to support. So what kind of support Rema must be curious about, right?
Yeah,
We're very curious, like, what kind of support Fnatic Onic Philippines. So, Coach, why not mention that you've offered a helping hand to FNUB during the knockouts? So, what kind of support, the ones that you're willing to share with us, that you give to FNUB?
Helping them mentally prepare and just for additional strategies, yeah.
All right, so
backup, right?
yeah, so even if like with the title of VP, the little bit of Coach Yeb is still in there, but like you help motivate the team.
That's why I still call you as the coach. Okay. So now on the stage, it's the third time rematch of the Fnatic Onyx versus Team Blackpink. Absolutely the most like the rematch of any M series here, right? So as a coach, your boys just got 2 games ahead right now. Are you happy about the way they did it?
Yes, of course, I'm happy with the result for now, but the series is not yet done, so we don't have to be complacent and just enjoy the game.
All right, so right now we're getting chill guy Yeb right now. Not too excited, you're up 2-0, but you don't want the boys to get complacent. So, since, everyone knows your achievements as a coach, maybe you could give for one each.
So we know that each team has a key to victory. So for Team Liquid and for Fnatic Onyx Philippines, could you give us your one key to victory for each team?
Just be themselves and enjoy the game. Yeah.
Just be the show, guys.
What I mean. All right, be themselves and enjoy the game. I feel like Coach Yep is holding back a bit more. We understand why, but that makes a lot of sense too. Yeah.
Yeah, coach is very confident about his boys. So, by the last, any message, any like shout out to your boys on the stage and to our Sonics here.
Thank you so much, Sonics and Filipinos. All Filipinos that supporting Onyx Philippines. We love you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Yep. Thank you, Rima. Okay, now it's a good time to start the game 3. So let's throw it back to the panel.
I feel like Coach Yep's advice is great for Fnatic Onyx Philippines. Be yourself, have fun. Can TLID do that? Can they just be themselves, be fighting all the time? Like, again, Coach Yep, amazing coach, that's his advice. Trex, what do you feel? Do you feel like TLID can take that advice?
I mean, yeah, have fun, but you know what's fun? Winning. Yeah, winning is fun, and they got to step something up here, just point blank. I mean, it's TLID. They had a good draft in game 1. There was some misplays in game 2. Even they're not completely losing in draft. That last one, I don't think the joy into the Fred one was good, but there's still just mistakes over the map.
Yeah, I feel like an element that you have to take is that use your best strategy. And I feel like TLID, that's fighting, but they got to refine it, but they have very little time. All right, I do got to say, since they're using the ROG Phone 9 Pro, they can do it. Was it? Yeah, are you okay? I mean, you really going for some game?
It looks great. I'm seeing what else Liquid ID can do, all right? We've stretched the limit of the 77 current hero pool in M6, and I'm looking like what else is left. I'm using the 165 refresh rate screen to go through the currently 126 heroes we have in MLBB, and I'm startled at Tsuyo, that beautiful man. I think if he's left, I'm currently doing left open. Yeah, I'm going to Tsuyo kick, so if whoever gets Tsuyo wins.
I mean, I don't know about you. Since you're enjoying yourself, I'm enjoying myself. We need some Hello Panda here where you guys can fuel your energy. Heck, you know what? I got full boxes. I got, what do you call it? You got carton. I got cartons of Hello Panda. We got cartons. And now we got Hello Panda. And you guys can too. Heck, I was walking around Ansiat Arena and a lot of people are bringing out their Hello Panda. So shout out to Hello Panda and to all of you guys enjoying this lovely biscuit.
You know what I loved about the interview with Coach Yep?
What?
I love the fact that he was asked the question, how does he feel about Fnatic Onyx, right? They're up 2-0, and normally you would expect maybe somebody to say,
Yep.
oh, we've got this, like it's in the bag, it's guaranteed. But no, he respects the dynamic from TLID, right? He said, job's not finished, the Mamba mentality.
So that's what you like. What I like is honestly Ferry. When Lovely meets gaming with Ferries. First, then 6 switch. Watch this. Green Ferry, locked in, Green Ferry. That's the Blue Ferry. And the strikes. And, all right, there you go. 3 Ferries in one desk. Shout outs to the Black Ferry Keaton as well. We have all the ferries here, and one cool thing is that if you have a ferry watch, you can ride their buggy, so you can go to the carnival. So we could have do that, but we're working.
I need to get a watch. That's what I got out of that.
You know what I need?
This isn't actually mine. They didn't give me one. They'll let me borrow it.
Since we're on top of things here, literally in the nosebleed seats in Axiata, I could use a secret lab.
Oh yeah, dude.
Too.
You know what will you be able to do with Secret Lab?
What?
You can play for longer because the chair is comfortable. Heck, if Trex had a Secret Lab chair, his daughter will stop making fun of it.
Exactly. She would. But we all know whose fault that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, Secret Labs would be great. Here or at home.
Either ways. Now we gotta get back on topic here, folks. 2-0. 2-0 for Fnatic Onyx Philippines. One more win, and they're at match point. While all this is going on,
TLID had time. They had time to readjust. They had time to re-strategize. So far, gentlemen, in my personal opinion, whenever TLID adjusts, it's honestly in their lane when it comes to the hero picks. I don't know if that's enough. Because so far, Fabian rotating the same heroes. Aaron Shiki rotating the same heroes. Weedy rotating the same heroes. We gotta see what else can we rotate around. But now we are talking to Beloyski, the M-chat here. Beloyski, you've met Kelra in MPL Philippines a couple of times. Is there anything you'd like to tell him? Kelra is a good friend of mine. He's always been a humble person. I see him as a kid who's always eager to win. That's why he's now the best goal laner in the world. He truly earns the title. Good luck, Kelra.
And it's that same hunger that has kept Kelra relevant and on top of world rankings all throughout, even if he's never won an MPL, even when he took a while to get to the world stage.
And now we're looking at average KDA. Look at the difference here. First of all, the top three is all Fnatic Onyx Philippines. Number 4 is Innocent, and number 5 is Aaron Shiki with 13.3, double digits for that average KDA.
Because of the results of the past couple of games and their meeting in the upper bracket finals, Yehezkiel was prior on top of the scale. And now the Ghost of Jakarta cannot step back up. And this is what we have. Still, just barely their top 5. The untouchable one, Aaron Shiki. Yeah, compared to the three from Fnatic, the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, and those numbers could honestly continue to go up as we go through this series. If TLID doesn't hit the switch at some point, it's looking like, things might wrap up soon.
Hey, I just hit the switch, flip. That's what needs to happen right now from the side of TLID to be able to get back online and take this game under control because they're running out of opportunities. Now facing with their backs against the wall, 2-0, and everybody knows when it comes to esports, this is one of the hardest things to come back from. So jumping into the next game, a couple of things are going to have to change. First, Witty, he tried to go in for the setup, tried to go for the Cho, it didn't work out. Then he goes in for the Khalid for the damage to try and find the back line, and he lets Yehezkiel pick up with the crowd control. And both methods still resulted in the same answer.
On stage, we just saw Coach Facehugger, now analyst / assistant coach for Team Liquid ID, and the situation they're in right now, a 0-2 slump. I bet this throws him back to his old days in Aura, where they would struggle in FPL for the longest time. And now as a coach, is like, yeah, I've been there, gentlemen. I know what it's like. I wonder if that kind of wisdom is coming into game number 3 right now, because they need everything they can have, any kind of help.
Now we're jumping into the drafting phase of game number 3, where TLID, now or never, they gotta pick up some kind of momentum. And if we go back to the advice of Coach Jeb, something about having fun is being comfortable, is being alive. And now we hear TLID not giving Kelra that Bruno anymore. And now looking at the junglers here, only one has been banned, and that's Fanny.
So at this point, maybe we see FNOP just, all right, fine, you ban. They're very known to do this. If you're going to ban the Bruno, we'll ban the Granger here. Leave the jungles open to trade up on. But again, FNOP's now they're in this place of maybe comfortability, but my guess is you just ban the Granger here.
I mean, it's a pretty good ban, and again, if you pick up the CEO, you got the Joy. If they pick up the Joy, they got the Fredrin. The Eve gets banned out, which, might I remind you, this is the pick TLID used to stop Snoggeray Giant. So this is a very good respect ban here. And now TLID, time to drop the beat of Flash. Pick up Joy.
That's a stinger, right? I mean, I feel like FNOP is putting them in a chokehold right now, right? They want them to take the Joy. They're not even worried about it. I mean, credits to Coach T over there, Coach Strex. The Fredrin still on the board, and we know it's 100% win rate.
But that alone is not the problem here. You can still put the Suyo on King Kong. And
Ranger as well.
Yeah, exactly. And pick up the rest of the lineup.
I if I'm banning Bruno, I'm thinking we definitely see the Granger pick up here, right? It's like, why even? Because now you give over Granger, and then what do you have in response to Kelra?
The Moskov.
Yeah, but
Moskov, yeah.
Against Kelra and Granger. Now FNOP, sorry, so FNOP decides to switch it up. Fine, we're gonna have some fun this game.
They're taking risk here.
Well, there's no need to rush the Suyo. they do open up the Granger still, definitely a risk because you're outranged. But something tells me Fnatic Onyx, like, they won the first 2 games with a very similar lineup. They're going, all right, maybe this time we dive.
I mean, I don't know. Personally for me, your footsteps, you think of horses, not zebras, where sometimes the simplest thing is the right solution. But it looks like Fnatic Onyx Philippines, they're showing a curve here, which is very interesting.
We've seen Fnatic Onyx pull this kind of trick against their series with Falcon Esports. They could have won clean, and they decided to go, yeah, let's play the usual.
Yeah, that's why you know, I'm like, I don't know about this.
I think at this point, I don't know. It feels a little weird seeing the hairs up front. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm not saying it's weird at all. But yeah, I think Fredrin here would be solid. It's definitely what I think I would see them pick. But again, they're in that point I was talking about, where sometimes if FNOP starts drafting a little strange, this is a chance for TLID to capitalize.
So let me just say this. The reason why I feel like it's strange, because it feels like a trap, right? Do we not get this kind of vibe? It's like they're letting go of that Granger. It feels like they have a strat specifically for this Granger. So that's why I feel like this is sus. They're letting go of this. What are they planning? What's the strategy here? What kind of trap is TLID going to fall into?
Yeah, and then they go for the Suyo instead of the Fredrin as well. So I'm right there with you. I think they are having a strategy that we have yet to see so far in the Axiata arena. But when it comes to TLID, Aran, he's got a comfort pick. He's rocking that Hilda.
Yep, he himself pushed the Hilda agenda all throughout MPLID, and now the world is reeling in the wake of this XP lane dominator. Going into bans, you still don't have mid laners. Instead, they banned a specialty hero for Widdy, the chip.
At this point, I'm liking TLID's draft. Their draft is clean. They were given a lot of prio, a lot of great picks. Everything that they have feels good against what FNOP has brought so far.
Right now, when I'm thinking of traps, maybe I'm overthinking in general here, but if there's a Suyo, would you ban a Fredrin?
No.
No. But is there a chance Fredrin EXP comes out?
Nah.
Maybe, but that's still, I mean, that only really kicks in that's going to kick in around, like, First Lord. But either way, that's when FNOP's been fighting. That's when they've been really winning out, is around that 7-minute mark.
There's so many other heroes for Kirk to just suddenly go, yeah, I'll Fredrin XP. I doubtful. Maybe you are overthinking it, Lafel.
I mean, I don't know. Because, again, I feel like something's cooking here, and I'm not sure what it is.
Speaking of cooking, you are going to see the high-lows taken off the board as well. We still have yet to see the mid lane matchups. The Pharsa still up for grabs. Looks very good. I would say even for both sides. Maybe you have to worry about the Katat. Right? I mean, we know how he performs on this Katat, right? He's able to get to the back line. This literally was the deciding fact in game number 1. You saw multiple times where he would go in at 1 HP, and the tenacity, the only thing to keep him alive, and they're able to find the picks off. They're able to take out multiple members of TLID.
So what are we looking at here? Final ban coming in from TLID is going to be the Khalid. Target down onto Brusco, target down onto that Roam, maybe a Kirk pick. Edith still open for the side of FNOP.
Which means the Valentina Edith dynamic is still there. If ever Fnatic Onyx do pick up the Edith, but I don't need to pick it here. They'll pick the mid laner here and then keep that XP laner pick for Kirk. That's what I'm guessing.
What do we think they pick up for mid here? Maybe they take, I mean, Valentina doesn't look amazing here. They could go for the Pharsa, I guess, but Joy's going to run down on that. You got the Death Sonata. You have a lot of answers for Pharsa. But again, it is Super Friends, probably one of the best positioners in the game right now. It's tough.
Even the Aurora is still available for grabs. FNOP could definitely take that, especially having that Hilda is going to rush in. I mean, half the crowd is going to be very effective. But wait a minute! Sicilian locked in for FNOP.
Mad range from Fnatic Onyx Philippines. What does TLID do? Currently, they only have one person who can get into the backline here, and that's Fabian's Joy. Do they have room in the draft to kind of pivot there?
I mean, we've seen this exact pivot before. Joy go what, mid? Be the answer, and then they pick something like that.
I don't think the ghost plays like that, son.
Hey man, I'm just saying. You're right. He's a artillery backline. I don't know if that's in his kit. It's true.
You can fight range with range, though. You could go in for the Navaria. I mean, up against this composition, you can play from afar. You don't think you have to worry.
Navaria's cooking.
That's a double poke.
Your team.
Oh! It's still good poke. The Farsa, again, great range artillery mage. And the Carmilla, which I think is I've heard, from many fans of MPLID that it's like a comfort pick for Weedy. I wonder how useful it'll be here in this game.
It's the we don't know what to pick, but we're gonna go for this. It's the whatever.
I don't want to say it like that.
I mean,
I would
not
say-
exactly not know what to pick, but it is the okay.
I would
A lot of
say-
things could work here. What do you want right now, Witty?
This is something that you can possibly come back with because the Curse of Blood is very deceptive, right? When you hit that big burst of damage, you can't really calculate for that. So maybe this is their Hail Mary.
Yeah, it's going to be challenging, though. Now they're working in Proud It's going to be more on being the aggressor in these situations, and we know just how well Fnatic Onyx is with the aggression. We even had a lot of it was aggression versus endurance, and they were the aggressor in that struggle. And now the final pick will be the CC to match the mobility of Iran on his signature Hilda.
Right now, TLID looking at the draft. This is one of their best drafts so far when it comes to comfort. But is it enough? We're throwing it over to the casters.
Two devastating games already for Team Liquid ID, and now 2 games MVP performances for Kelra. This time doesn't get the Bruno. Can we see an adjustment here? Is this enough to bring a match win for Team Liquid ID?
That's going to be a hard journey this time. I mean, the draft, yes, as LaFell has mentioned, can maybe turn it around with that Curse of Blood, but it feels more like a deny rather than an accelerant.
I like the adjustment, right? I really like the adjustment for TLID. I feel like this is a very comfort draft for them, and it's now or never. It's 2-0 already.
It's 2-0 already, and if FNOP gets this one, they're going to be facing a championship, a point ahead of them in this best-of-7 grand final. Team Liquid ID, the draft, we've seen the picks before, and this Carmilla to go ahead and pull something out that we haven't seen just yet. The Curse of Blood can work great in this. Not only that, but also we have to point out the fact that this is a lineup that should extend the team fights in their favor. 2 revitalizes for them, 1 from Witty and 1 from Iran to go that way. And also taking a look at the emblems here, breaking it down, Gideon.
Looking at the emblems, you're seeing a lot of poke, right? 3 impure rages coming all across the board. Oh, Iran, you're in so much trouble.
Vitalize already saying we close, brings it back, Kirk. Rotating over, Avian recovering that position for the team. Aran gets away.
I don't think he's going to be able to recover from that just yet, especially when the CC is on the opposite end. And now, even in the middle lane, they're still contesting for it. Brusco making sure that he can sustain against Witty and Heskel at the same time. And this is what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, Surge Cycling Claw, Soul Sever, King Kong picks the first blood.
That's not what you want to happen, man. You know, give King Kong the Suyo. He'll make it happen. A first blood in his hands. And that's the thing. The team is going to go ahead and play around those points. If they know that some of the resources are down from that early skirmish earlier on, they'll still capitalize it. And every single time the Suyo is picked up, I don't know. I actually don't know the perfect statistic on how many first bloods that hero actually has. Just because how much damage he has in the early game with the Soul Sever.
He does, but Kirk right now is winning this 1v1 pretty hard so far, and Iran forced to actually go for the recall. But generally, how I'm seeing this is that TLID need to make sure that they have a tight game, right? Any little mistake that they've made, we've seen Fnatic Onyx BH really blow that over and turn it into a full-on snowball.
Let's think about this. This time around, Kelra's not going to have the Bruno. He's got the Harith, a signature pick of his. Hold on, hold that thought for a second. The fight for the turtle, though. Fabian.
The retribution now going to be caught in the curtain call and also the Sanguine Claws. Witty pops into Vitalize. Kirk coming in as well. Kirk into the back, he dives.
And now he wants to continue on. Oh, the vengeance, not enough. Takes down. But at least Fabian is able to find a kill for himself, right? These small moments to pick up these kills, to find that initial gold is going to be great. But this Sanguine Claw is showing up to be quite a bit of a problem for TLID.
And again, Super Prince is on a hero that is very late game centric. You want to go ahead and build up those stacks on the bad impact, and then eventually you're just popping off damage from range. But going back to it, you know, for Kelra, this Harith works a little bit damage. Wow, already got heads killed. Forced to go ahead and just wings on out of there.
sure you have priority. Make it that very first move. It's just the capitalization has been a little weak.
Good trades. Oh, up top, Kirk picked off Fabian. Able to utilize Aran's aggression. Now it's Witty who gets traded on the map. Super and King Kong with a kill.
Okay, at least it's pretty good. They're trading up, right? We give Witty, we take Kirk. It works out at the end.
And not only that, but this is Fabian, the best start that he's had so far in the series. It is going to be on this Joy. Could hyper scale up pretty well. Aaron Shiki will burn the flicker, so Kelra goes and gets that resource out with the Zaman Force. But Fabian also, going back to it, picks up the Starlium Scythe now. And with the early kill that he has, he actually is able to provide quite a bit of damage. Still running that Temporal Rain on the Joy here.
They have to really take their time with this, right? A lot of the motions on the map are pretty readable, but for Fnatic on a PH, it's about making sure this mid is clear, and at least Aaron Shiki is going for the double waves, and I feel that in the past couple of games, as much as Aaron Shiki was able to pick up those double waves, Fnatic capitalize a lot more in Yehezkiel skill and his positioning, which is something we need to keep in mind, right? If we see Feathered Airstrike, we're expecting GOA to come out pretty fast.
Now the turtle's up, they're gonna fight for the space already. Yehezkiel gets taunted.
That's a lot of damage. Bad impact. Oh, Yehezkiel forced to flicker out to safety. Meanwhile, Aran getting killed by the Yo-Yo Witty, forced to use the Revitalize just for the burst, just for the poke of Super Prince.
Feather Airstrike is going to come out very. Fabio is going to try Electrifying Beats. He's already gone in. Curse Blood.
And after the Brusco taking very low, still able to survive. Brusco in the midst of it all. Getting the kill back, Fabian. Claiming the turtle. AOG. God, that's the kill for Fabian. Jumping back in. Aura's down. Flavor Fave.
They didn't find it back. They didn't get the trade that they were looking for. And finally, Team Liquid have some momentum in the game. And King Kong is able to walk away from another Electrifying Beats. At least they're able to breathe for now. But one of the better starts we've seen from TLID.
Yeah, not only that, but all that going again to Fabian here on the Joy, 5-0 now, gets the triple. Not only that, but also got the turtle. Uh-oh, King Kong might get spotted out.
Oh, no, we don't want to watch
Oh,
King Kong survives the outplay from King Kong. Kurt gets the shutdown. Fabian got taken out under the turret.
He's alive.
That's shutdown right there.
How did it happen? How? Fabian, I mean, he's 5-1 now. Broken record at this point of time, but comes the rest of the team. Is now they're going for a bit of a lane swap. Kelra dealing with a round underneath the turret with the Zaman voice. He's not even worried about it.
Doesn't care about it.
Oh, look at him.
Jumping back and forth. Aran over the bush again. Sangling Claws catches him. Oh, the airstrike into the back. Aran will be slain by the bat impact.
The timing on the Unbreakable to get the taunt outside of the circular from the Feathered Airstrike was perfect timing.
Outside of the circular. I love that. I'm going to steal
like
that. I like that a lot, as a matter of fact. But at the same time, it's 5-5. They've evened up that lead. Man, that was such a huge shutdown. The gold now looking real good, but there's permanent damage on the map. Top side missing up and one inhibitor. Not one inhibitor, a tier 1, but even the bottom side has been traded too. At the same time, King Kong's still level down on Fabian.
He's a level down, and they're finding these small wins across the map. And Team Liquid ID is going to have to get in a position to go ahead and capitalize on some of the leads they have. Like you just mentioned, the lead in levels, even for Aaron Shiki, he is a level 10 right now. He's only got the Hunter Strike, still building in. Meanwhile, Kelra, Starlium Scythe, still working on the second item, but now the last turtle for the game is started up by TLID. Let's see if they can get the 3 for 3 here.
They're all going to focus onto Aran. Sanguine Claw, Aran very low for the airstrike to throw him away. Fabian wins out the retreat battle. King Kong taken out by Fabian as the curtain call comes down, but FNOP will just disengage.
Yep, they're just pulling back. We don't need any more than this. Let's not overextend, and let's just breathe for a moment. With King Kong already down, Fabian has guaranteed his level lead against his opponents, but Aaron Shiki is the main win condition. He needs to poke out his opponents, and once Fnatic on it get desperate, that's when Witty needs to find that counter engage.
Brusco taking a lot of shots here.
No! Super Prince in that bush. Aaron Shiki now with the Rhapsody as well. Aaron able to escape. Kelra with the chase, and now gets caught by Aran. Power Wilderness, and for the airstrike, Kelra! Still able to dodge away for so long.
2 for 1 so far, but it's still Revitalized comes up through. Electrified Beach does not take him out. Finally, Fabian is able to put him down as Aran is next to fall with the help of Kirk King Kong. Are you going to do it? Yes, he will. Underneath the they dive. A double for Kirk.
The timing from the Super Fam comes through again in a fight that you thought was all for TLID. but it wasn't. And now, again, the pendulum swinging in game 3. They focus on the base turret, the mid turret, tier 1.
On the turret going in for the airstrike. Kirk shall be shut down by Aaron Shiki.
That's 280 gold into the pockets of TLID. At least they find something back. 9-9. They're keeping it a very tight series here, but with 3 turtles on their side and 1 turret, we're looking for some permanent damage from specifically Fnatic on a PH, because now you realize that it's all about waiting for that Cursed Blood to come out and then maybe looking to, overstep a little bit to get TLID to come out of their comfort zone.
The most difficult thing here for Fnatic on a PH is obviously dealing with where Fabian is. Most of the time, because of how far ahead he is in terms of damage potential on the Joy, they got to keep an eye on the back line, and Kirk's been doing a fantastic job. I mean, he is tanky enough to go ahead and jump in around whether he has the Vengeance or not. And that's kind of a mirrored approach where your back line is both exposed on both lineups if you're not careful here. So they check things out in the mid lane. The Lord is up, and Kirk's going to be the one to go ahead and get in position. Now still, it's relatively even across the board that tier 1 gets pushed in by the minion wave at bot as they get in position for the Lord.
I just love the fact that they're forcing respect out of the on the bottom side. From FNOP, they're not spreading out anymore. They got to stick together.
Okay, so the forward picked up by Aaron Shiki too, so that should be the power spike, 3-item power spike. You can see the damage. The poke with another airstrike as well. Gets Sonata. Kelra is out of the fight, just like that. Up top, 1v1. Flavor Fave, the usurper in the 1v1 against Kirk. I want to go solo kill you, but got King Kong. It's Kirk.
Yep, it's Kirk for now, but it's not over just yet, right? 4 ultimates to 3 ultimates. The ult economy is looking pretty good for Fnatic Onic at this point of time, and this is the very first Lord. If they're looking for that big swing, Fnatic Onic need to win this out.
They'll just delay it a little bit longer. Team Liquid ID still having the revitalizers too. One was just used by Witty. Still have the one for Aran. They'll get the ghost signal though on the Lord. They're gonna zone out FNOP.
Aran jumping in. Oh, he's gonna stun as well. David claims it, and Kelra disappears. Aaron Shiki gets him down with the Death Sonata.
Where did he go? Where did he go? Just a couple of shots and he disappears into thin air. Unfortunately, he's not able to build up enough shields. The raw damage from Aaron Shiki is just too much for now.
It's too much for now, and this is the game that Aaron Shiki and the rest of Team Liquid ID needed. They get themselves another major objective, and now trying to work down some of the turrets they still have left to approach the base of FNOP. But Aaron Shiki, just go ahead, take that tier the Lord.
Even with the revival, Cavalry who just pounced on him.
Kirk, he's got to calm down here. I mean, yes, it's calculated from Iran's side, but Kirk should know better. He got very confident off of that, and this is off of a Lord push.
Lord push right now. Mid turret still being worked on. A feathered airstrike dropped down. Oh. Wow, a lot of shots for King Kong. Shields are going to be popping here, though. Lord almost gone. The last one will go down, though, as Lord is cleared out. So FNOP will hold on to the base turrets pretty healthily.
Now, at least they can breathe. At least they can, take their time and rethink their strategies, because I think the hardest part is getting the right people to group together. Ideally, you want to get that curtain call on both Aaron Shiki and Yeskill. Maybe ideally Fabian as well, with basically any of their front lines.
You still want to go in? Kirk. Oh, feather airstrike on the Super Priest leads like this. You had the glowing wand. Oh my God, get the impact just in time. Another feather airstrike over to Kelra. Very low on Kelra and Kirk. Prince able to clear out the wave in the bottom lane, and that is it. But man, the kill threat.
He was hurting. He was hurting a lot. That was glowing wand on top of the it could have gone bad. Super Prince luckily pops his ult in time and conveniently has minions down by the bot side of the map.
Could have been real bad.
It could have been real bad. Even running with that. Again, all Super Prince wants to do is continue to build up on the stacks.
Stack him up.
That he has. Glowing wand, wishing lantern now. You can see it there. 216 stacks for the Sicilian. So the later the game gets dragged on, then Super Prince becomes pretty devastating in terms of damage, but you saw it too. The stacks for Aaron Shiki, he deleted Kelra earlier on.
Yeah, I mean, he's 695. He's about to hit 700. It's only like 1230 in the game so far. I mean, he's been stacking up really, really nicely. And I do like the way that TLID is adjusted.
You can see the purchase for Witty. Anti-Curse into second item Twilight Armor. So he has ways to deal with the poke that will be constantly coming out from FNOP's Super Prince, right? With the Sicilian, that bad impact, it won't really have that punch anymore with the Twilight Armor. You can just constantly take that damage, back away, wait for it, Kelra. Around from the back. Wilderness. That's a big bump. Now that's not a course of blood for Winnie.
That's 3 members already down, and Kirk, he's got no pushing power as Fabian's running in with the rest of the squad. It's gonna be the Vengeance already. Papa with no minions. What?
Okay, there's the push in from the cavalry they're looking for in game 3. FNOP will still try to defend, but they're gonna have to make this work.
Only Kirk left now. Gun down the Rhapsody and that Sky Piercer. The cavalry are alive.
Ooh, they breathe life into another game, extending the series. They're not gonna let FNOP get to match point just yet. Not without at least one step beat down.
They came through as a stampede in game 3. We talked about the adjustments leading in this one, and it was apparent here from start to finish. They showed that they have fight in them right here for this series.
And you can see how the Carmilla was a comfort for Witty the Wise.
Yep. It was a great pick. Unique once again. We're going to have to go ahead and throw it over to the panel to break down a game at number 3 and see what they thought about this result.
TLID was able to take down Fnatic Onyx Philippines in game number 3. The question is it an outplay or a mistake? Trax, what do you think?
I mean, TLID, I think they were able to execute some things there. They were on fire, and FNOP, honestly, a little bit on the fritz there, man. Had a little bit of a glitch in draft, at least in my opinion. And then even in some of the gameplay, we saw Kelra get caught. TLID had the advantage from draft on, and this time they executed very well.
I think the word you're looking for is a little too playful. We've seen Fnatic on it go through these episodes. One to point out is against Falcon Esports. They picked out a double dive lineup with a Yuzhong in the EXP. In that same series, they put a Uranus into Kirk's hands, and that was against Liquid ID. I correct myself?
Either way, we've seen it happen a few times from
Yeah, so it seems like for the sake of shaking it up, Fnatic Onyx, we're only speculating, we decided to first phase draft the Harith, and then open up the Granger, give it over to Aaron Shiki, and then close up with a little more conservative Sicilian NCC, which again allowed for Liquid ID to come in and read that game from game 2 and then take over. Weezy, how do you read this?
It's the Onyx special. That's what it kind of appears to be, right? When they are ahead, they tend to kind of do these things. They draft a little bit more interesting. Something I can't predict. I would say the X Factor effect. And the X Factor is high risk, high reward. And this way, in this game was not their reward. So I think in the next one, the draft was what made the difference in this. It wasn't a micro game. This was 100% draft.
So this time, it's the draft. We can say that.
So, like, Trax, do you think that maybe for the sake of winning the World Championship, should Onyx make it simple?
Yes, I mean, I think this was when we first started the night. We talked about win cons for TLID. It was take advantage of these playful moments, take advantage of these glitches in the system, and then build momentum off of it. So Fnatic Onyx, they have two choices. They keep on messing around, and they let TLID catch up, and then it's risk factor. Then it gets risky. Then they find out that, oh man, TLID has momentum now, and now they're really playing and growing. Now they're adapting. So Fnatic Onyx, they need to quickly get things back together.
Yeah, this was interesting too because you pick up the Joy, and I would have sworn the Fredrin 100% win rate would have been the thing picked up here from King Kong, but instead decides to go for the Suyo. Sicilian, the late game special, but I mean, this is a 13-minute game. We saw the stacks, they just weren't scaling.
You know what? There were moments where the Suyo wasn't even bad. Like, I think Suyo running it like this, especially if you're confident, as King Kong isn't wrong. I think where it really fell off was how Kirk was just holding down the fort, even when he didn't have to, for the sake of that Sicilian, to try and buy time and space on the map so that the rest of them can approach that power spike. Even at Harry, there was a moment in the bottom lane, Harry was just dancing around Aran and pushing that bottom lane tier 1, but what after that? Where do we go from there? I don't think Super Friends wanted to be in these situations this early on because we saw his stacks early, right? And they're not very high for like a 12-minute game time.
There's also this, with Kerfoot, we just saw from the items, he's very late to pick up any magic defense. Yes, he gets the tough boots, but into the Warax, into brute force breastplate. And you're in this tough position because you have Aaron Shiki, who's dishing out insane damage. You have Fabian Nafarza, who's dishing out insane damage. And every time we saw Kirk go in, trying to do Kirky things, he gets taken out very quickly. Even when that one moment he thought he had it on.
Speaking about on, I mean, he's running that Hilda special, right? You've seen him dominate in TLID, with TLID in season 14 of MPL, and you see the domination here again over Kirk, who's just caught out of position so many times. I mean, look at the difference in damage between Aaron Cheeky and Kelra.
Kelra did just as much as Brusco.
And that's not very much. If anything, Brusco dealt more. You look at that number. Talking about Keller here, he is a short to mid-range mage. He likes to play in the paint. And when you're in the paint, Weedy picked the right hero. If you're going to run straight at the Team Liquid ID, Weedy just puts up the Curse of Blood, and you suddenly have to find another angle. Aran is just right around the corner to punish you. I think Fnatic Onyx really has to tighten up the screws and fix this Game 4 draft. Like, that's just the main answer here. That's how they drop this game.
Yeah, when we're at this peak of, when we're at the grand finals, and I think many grand finals before this, so many things comes out to one or two picks in a draft. So many things comes down to these coaches and what they give their teams. And TLID kind of risked it there, right? They go for the Joy first pick. They risk giving over the Granger, but in the end, we have our MVP.
Yep, the usurper
from them in the past couple days.
And every single game so far in this best of 7, 1, 2, and 3, they have their. It's not like the draft was bad for CLID in any of those games. It's actually weird that it's Fnatic Onyx that we're actually pointing out that had a weird lineup going into that bout. So I agree. Weedy, just focus on your play, focus on asking, let's say, DeLucas if he's looking for a good draft. If you get it, just play better than Fnatic. But going into game 4, I think things are going to change.
And I do agree with the point when he said going up against SRG, they had more games like they have in the past. But especially when we see the match against SRG, they had a lot of synergy. They had a lot of dive into the unit, that hive mentality, which was helping them overcome a lot of competition, and that really put a pedestal up for step on. And they were able to step on it and they learned from the experience. But now it's you and translating it into this game. Now, they have a match of Fnatic Onyx. Can they ride that momentum?
We'll have to see. A couple minutes till draft. You know, TLID. I think I want to talk about how they come into this match, right? They just came off of a big swing. You know, do they still come in with the same idea? Do they feel the way that we feel, that maybe, you know, if not messed up in draft? You know, like, it's kind of,
That's out of your control. Competitor, as an athlete, if you know in yourself that you won because your opponent did a certain few things wrong before the match even started, how do you deal with that? It's irreplicable. You can't go like, all right, I hope they do that again. I hope they pick the Harith early again.
I'll tell you what, I wouldn't even look at that game. I would look at the game before, where the mistakes actually happened, when it was an even playing field, where it was a more even draft, because I don't expect... You said lightning struck twice. It's not going to strike twice again, right? There's a reason you said that, and I feel like stepping into the next draft, it should be a little bit harder of a challenge for TLID. So I think looking back at the previous games where they did lose in the micro engagement is what's going to make the difference overall for this series.
And now we're looking at player head-to-head here, and I kind of feel like this is what we're going to see a lot in this game. Between Brusco as well as Weedy, it does feel like Weedy will be the one to take the brunt of the damage here compared to Brusco, because in terms of mid-trio aggression, it does seem like Onyx is a little bit more compared to TLID.
All right, if there's anything to take away from this, it's not what's on screen. It's something that isn't. The fact that Aran took so much damage in game number 3 to help spread it out between him and Weedy might be a key to victory for Team Liquid. If this 13,000 that Weedy is taking from Brusco is spread out between him and Aran, maybe they can take more fights where it's not a 4v5, a 3v5. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Liquid ID can keep the numbers game fair, then maybe even more they can find ways to like shut down Kelra, shut down King Kong.
yeah, look for those. I think a lot of it comes down to them tightening up, looking for those, you know, more clustered team fights to where they're not as spread out. Because we saw it in game 1 and even a little bit in game 2, you know, FNOP really capitalized when they're able to disperse them. You know, Kelwer will find Weedy in the back line, kind of broken off from the team. Then Kelwer comes in late. So if DLID is able to group up, they're able to disperse some of that damage.
Which is weird because Fnatic Onyx are specialists at this scrambled style of team fighting. That's where Brusco can get away, heal up for like 2 seconds, come back, punch someone in the face, and then be part of the fight all over again. How do they hit this balance? How do they make that happen over and over again? Besides the weird draft, again, secrets up to them. It's up to Coach St. DeLucas and FaceHugger to remind them how to get that.
Yeah, you got to out-bruise the bruiser. I think that's one of the keys to victory for the side of TLID. I mean, we see him on the Katat. We see him with these initiations. The majority of these games, if I'm not mistaken, were they all Katat games from Brusco so far?
Yes.
They were.
3 games in a row.
3 games in a row. See, and that's a key to victory right there. Just finding a way to shut him down, maybe forcing him on something else so he can't create such an opportunity.
And now we're jumping into the draft of game number 4 here. TLID, I agree with you, gentlemen. If Fnatic Onyx feels fast like normal, it's going to be very hard for TLID. They were able to clutch it out when Aran as well as Weedy takes the damage with 50-50 here, but this time, unfortunately, Hilda has been banned off. Fnatic Onyx Philippines will be on first pick.
Okay, so TLID, what do they make this last ban as? I don't think you go into jungle. You take out the Bruno. So now you're kind of playing that same game. Last time they were on blue side, they had the first pick opportunity. They obviously don't want a Granger up front. They're willing to maybe give it over to FNOP. Does FNOP take it? No, they go for the joy this time. TLID, you're in the same position. You don't make the Harris mistake, I think, here. I think you take Granger whatever, Granger Hylos, Granger Cho, Granger Suyo. I think, once again, personally, I think you go for Fred on pick 3.
But it's a switcheroo now. It's FNOP first.
Yeah.
And then, TLID should take that.
TLID, you take the Granger.
I'm taking the Gatai. You got to stop Brusco from his comfort pick, right?
Granger.
Especially, I mean, they're giving respect over to some comfort picks of their own. They're taking out that Hilda from Aran, but they're going to go in for that Suyo instead, pair it up with this Lu Yi, so element of surprise in their favor. I mean, we did say the Buyo, the Suyo, it wasn't too bad against the Joy. It was not a hard stoppage, though, which means maybe going for something like that Belleric could be the case here.
I mean, the Lu Yi, I get it. You're taking it away. It was definitely a possibility as a number 2 or 3 pick for FNOP on the swing back. But again, you're now risking losing a gold winner here if FNOP decides to lock in this Granger immediately. I think that's the choice for them, number 3 here.
Here's the thing. The Granger is good. Make a Moskov work. A Bay
Couldn't make the Harris work last.
That's just the whole. So they prioritize something else here and they close in on the mid-lane matchup. Super still has his own diversion if you think about it.
Very fair. I mean, definitely agree. And Bruce still onto something comfortable here. Instead of the Gatot, something a little more aggressive, a little more backline